Welcome to the Jeff Canada Show. But if you're going to get your feelings hurt, you might need to turn this shit off.
Welcome to the episode of the Jeff Canada Show. I'm joined here. I wanted to change things up a little bit, so I put out an SOS on my Facebook today. And instead of having an artist in here, of any type really, I wanted to get a super fan in here. And now, I'm not saying that this guy's a super fan of mine. He is a super fan of the genre. He fucking loves music. So my buddy Clint's here. What's up, dude?
Let's go. What's going on?
How do you say your last name, first of all?
Procell with
Procell.
Pro.
That's what I figured. Procell, like batteries.
Yes, yeah. Not a lot of people catch on to that one, but yeah. That's all we in the federal government. That's all we buy is the cheap Duracells, which are all Procells.
Procell, yeah. We bought a lot of those for like the inner rigs and stuff.
Right, yeah.
So I met you like a year ago, right? Maybe a little over a year ago.
Roughly,
something like that.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure. I have to think about it for a second. I think it was Jordan Nick's show. No, it wasn't.
No, it was the Drifters show.
Drifters. That's right.
We'd already been following each other before that.
Yes, that's what it was. You're right.
The Drifters show. Yep. I went to Lowdown Drifters show with. I met up with what's his name?
Big John or Dylan or Pearl Snap. No. Another person was there.
Roger.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yes.
So I met Roger, who's also another like super fan.
Yeah, lives right down the road.
Yeah. And I met you there that night, and there was really there was probably maybe 50 people in
Armadillo Palace
in the venue, right?
Yeah, it's hit and miss, you know.
And there was only like 3 of us that were like really partying really into the music, right?
Oh yeah. Well, if it's Lowdown Drifters, that's big for me. That's how I met my wife, and I got a whole story about that night in particular, but that was, and I remember now, because I saw you, and I for some reason I mistaken you for Joey Green. You remember that? I was like, I don't know why either, too, because I just saw Joey like 2 weeks ago.
Because we're both fat.
No. But yeah, so yeah, that's what, and I was like, okay, and I was just kind of rang a bell together, but yeah, that was, there wasn't too many people there. That was Yeah, I got my car. I was at the Houston Rodeo earlier that night. Saw Dylan Wheeler, and I was in the private tent for Jack Daniels. The Chad Cook band was playing.
I love those two.
Yeah, he's A1. And then I went back to where I parked my car, and the car was gone. And so I parked the same spot I parked the year before at the Houston Rodeo in an apartment complex. It was a handicap spot. I had handicap for I got a bunch of metal on my feet. But the car was gone, and I wasn't going to let it ruin my evening. I ended up having to take 2, it was only like 15 minutes away, and I had to take 2 Ubers because I'd never really used Uber, and I got dropped off the wrong place, ended up getting there, and then, we all linked up, had a great time, ended up at the end, after it all ended, went to the Lowdown Drifters Hotel. They gave me a ride to go get my car out of the impound because it was open 24/7.
Oh, cool.
Otherwise, I was just going to leave Armadillo and just go get it. Because I was like, I'm not going to let this ruin my night, and it all worked out great. And
that was a fun night. They called me up on stage that night.
Yeah. Oh,
and we did the song by The Weight.
Yeah,
by the band.
Yes.
We did that tune. That was pretty cool. That's cool. I love those dudes, man. Those are
my
cool
God,
dudes.
they're good as gold. That's one of my top favorite bands. Personal favorite bands. By them and Midnight River Choir are probably probably my main bands that I know, that I like to go follow.
Yeah, I've never seen Midnight River Choir live. I have a shirt of theirs for some reason.
Their graphics, Bob Driver, their bass player, he does a lot of their graphics and stuff, and so.
But I have no idea where it came from. I don't know I have no idea how I got it. Because I've never been on a festival with them. I've never seen them play live, and normally the only time I get stuff like that. So maybe somebody just left it at my house or something. I don't know.
It's very popular. They've been around for a minute.
But I got to talk to him for a minute up in Steamboat in 2023. I went up there and I talked to him for a bit because Wes Barlow.
With Eric?
Yeah. Because Wes Barlow is good friends with him.
Okay.
And Wes is a good friend of mine. He plays fiddle. I don't know if you know who Wes Barlow is or not.
Sounds real familiar.
He fills in with them from time to time.
Okay.
He just played with William Clark Green the other night. And
Sweet.
He does a lot of stuff like Scooter Brown, and those guys. So he's cool dude. He lives up in Greeley, Colorado. Very, very, very cool dude.
Oh yeah.
So I have like multiple questions for you.
Maybe before that though, because I'm scatterbrained. But
go ahead.
But Music Fest, I'll be there either from Sunday to Sunday. day before and day
Oh,
after.
you're going to Colorado
this year? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I won't be going back unless I'm invited to play, and I doubt I'm ever.
It's not cheap.
It's really expensive, and you know,
if you don't ski too, I don't know.
I don't ski, and I get to see these guys like throughout the year.
Yeah, it's Texas and Colorado, so we're in Texas.
And stuff. So it's like it doesn't really offer me anything new to go up there. Now, if I'm on the bill, that's a different story.
Of course.
But it doesn't make sense for me to go up there and spend the money to go hang out with people I get to hang out with without spending that amount.
Yeah, it cost me about $2,000.
I think I spent like close to $3 last time.
Yeah, well, that's not including the flight or anything else. That's just the hotel or the whole deal.
It's expensive. And there's some things I like about it. I definitely like a lot about it. I think it's a really cool idea. I don't like how you can't guarantee your spot at a show.
I don't look forward to that because I'm not a big fan of like multi-stage festivals.
Have you been before?
Never. Well, I went in 2017, but I wasn't into Red Dirt then. I was still pop country guy.
Gotcha.
I was going to Carolina Music Festival, Watershed, pop country stuff. So at that time, I lived in Colorado at the time. I was working for the Forest Service, and I was in Winter Park or Grand Lake, so I was only like a couple hours, and I was like, okay, let me go check this out, and I went and snowboarded and stuff. But this will be official, and I know a bunch of the folks now up there. So Jordan Nix, that's one of my big. That's one of the guys I really want to go up to see because he played for my birthday.
Yeah, I remember.
Back in June. So
I was supposed to come and I couldn't come.
I mean, it gets a pretty good turnout for as many people as I invited. It turned out pretty good.
Yeah, I got to hang out with him up at the Texas Country Music Association Awards a couple weeks ago. Candace and I presented an award, and then I stage managed the small stage where the emerging artist played.
Sweet.
And so I helped him get all set up and stuff. I mean, he's just such a good dude. First time I met Jordan. By the way, if you guys have not heard of Jordan Nix, you've got to go check out his stuff. My favorite song by him is Happy Meal Mondays.
Such a good one, especially if you're a single dad.
Yeah, off his last record. It's just the way that guy puts visuals, the way he creates visuals with words is you don't see it every day, and he's really, really good at it. He's really good at it from coming from a different, unique perspective, and his tone and the way he plays guitar and sing. He's just all around just a stellar.
He can belt it, and I mean, and like you said, he's just one of the nicest guys I've met in the industry.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's cool, man. The first time I met him, I was doing a song swap up in College Station with him. And I didn't know him. It was like a last minute thing that Wes Barlow booked us up at a place in College Station, and so he showed up, and he was I think he was using like a borrowed guitar that night, and he was like in shorts and just like I was like, oh no, this is not gonna be good when I first saw him.
Right.
But I'd already heard that song bye bye or whatever it was.
Bye. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Whichever it is.
Yep.
I heard that song, so I knew. I was like, oh, I know who he is, but I wasn't familiar with his music. And then I played the first song, and then he played the second song, and I didn't want to play anymore after that. I'm just like, I don't even want to play. That's how good that dude is.
Yeah, I mean, I found out about him through Parker Ryan. I was listening to Parker Ryan for a long time, and then I heard about him because they're good friends. And I didn't even know about Parker Ryan until I went to a South Hall show out in Katy. And I went, a lot of times now I'm going for openers, and then I'll find out. A lot of times I know the headliner, but actually, so a lot of times I found out with him at the South Hall show, and then I went to go see Parker Ryan open for these folks I didn't know, Dexter and the Moonrocks, and then I was like, oh my God, this is. So yeah, that happens a lot, that get turned on to new bands by just.
Yeah, somebody just sent me their stuff recently.
Oh yeah, if you're not on the Dexter.
Like recently. They're so good.
They're one of my top.
There's so much. That's one of the. It's one of the frustrating parts of this industry on being on the artist side of things is there's so much good music out there being released, and hardly any of it is getting any time of day.
Right. I mean,
because there's so much bullshit being released at the same time. And so it's trying to figure out where you go. And that's the one thing, like Spotify, for example, I mean, as fucking evil as that company is, they have the best platform for discovering new stuff.
Right.
I think it's way better than Apple Music.
Oh yeah, because you put something on random and I will find out about occasional artists that I hadn't ever really heard of. And but it needs to happen. Unfortunately, a lot of cases it's social media. People like Dexter the Moon Rocks. The reason they've probably gotten so big is because they're really good at social media. If you're not, then you're just going to go off of the quality of your music and word of mouth, And if you go to a show and happen to hear another band, otherwise, you're right that there's just so much content out there, which is honestly, I think yes, as an artist, that has to be hard. As a fan, it's like we just don't run out of music to listen to.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I want to ask, because obviously I'm a huge fan too. I listen to stuff I've never heard before every day. I make sure it's part of my deal I do every day. But like as a fan, how do you what are you looking for in a band to become a fan, become like a super fan of that band? Like what are you looking for in a band?
So, it's got to be unique. To some degree, something that's just not. It's usually through, like I said, word of mouth kind of thing. Like I was just listening to Tiffany Blue by Tyler Haverson when I came in. I didn't even know who the guy was at all, but a buddy of mine, Tink, he's friends with them and all that stuff. And so I ended up, and they were playing at this venue out in Sour Lake called the Revenant. And I've been there for 6 years outside of Beaumont. And I know I'm going to have to name drop Seven Oaks, because Seven Oaks is a true listening room. It is, if you get out that way, Courtney owns Seven Oaks and it's amazing. And then we got Corville's, but there's this little place, called the Revenant. With all the music I listened to, I would have thought I would have known this venue, and it's just this person's house. They got a compound, and it was Tyler Haverson playing, and we're like, okay, well, let's go check him out. And he's kind of more of like the Zach Top or Culture, like he's real country kind of style, not but it wasn't so much, I guess it's like an aura or something, maybe, it's not, the music for sure, but it's also like stage presence, how many people are in the band, like I say Parker Ryan, one of the big reasons I like them is they're just a 3-piece band. And it just kind of blows me away that can come out of 3 people. Yeah. But Tyler, I forget his guitars, but he's just got some good quality people that play for him. And yeah, then things that we all have in common, kind of like, we had a little powwow and all that, and just certain things just kind of, levitate or gravitate towards me. It's hard to really say. But I grew up listening to like Pink Floyd and, Randy Travis. Also from one spectrum to the other, techno. I was into techno in high school, and, so I'm very, I love rap music and all that stuff, but now, I'm pretty much, if I turn red, it's always gonna be Red Dirt for the most part. And
what made that switch?
I guess, I don't know. I guess, I just listened to the radio a lot, listened to just basic stuff that, it was Morgan Wall. Like I was at Carolina Music Festival, and Morgan Wall was on the backstage. I was doing bar backing, and I heard him and all that stuff. Like, that sounds like he's going to do pretty good. And then, now look where he's at.
Yeah.
But it's just, just that's something that I can't really explain it. I'd have to probably think on it, like just something different.
So you're a pop country fan.
Oh, for sure. Because I moved down here.
How bad? Like Florida Georgia line?
Oh yeah, bad. Yeah. Because I moved down here, down to the South. I was born in Virginia. My dad's from Louisiana. My mom's from Washington State. My sister was born in Germany. But so I got roots from both. But I went to high school, middle school, and elementary in Washington State outside Seattle. And so, I was obviously big into grunge. My aunt hooked up with Eddie Vedder. And so it was nice. A lot of, different. Yeah, Mom, you might see this later. But so, yeah, it's, so yeah, I have just a big, span of type of music I'm into. So then when I hear something just like different, I guess, I don't know how, like a local band that is back where I'm at in Beaumont, it's JT Reserve. And they just kind of like, you've heard him. So like they're just, he's kind of got like some punk-ish in there. He does, it's just something different. Because I can start rattling a lot of bands that aren't different and are just kind of like blah, but I don't want to throw any of those guys under the bus. But yeah, definitely was Luke Bryan, the Florida Georgia line. Now Jason Aldean, I still listen to Jason Aldean. Yeah, I was big into the bros.
So do you still listen to that stuff at all? Or do
like I said, Jason Aldean, there's not a whole lot of, if it is, it's going to be old country. Like I say, old, I say 90s, 80s, 70s, David Allan Coe, Hank Williams Jr., obviously stuff like that. But no, any of the, no, it kind of bothers me sometimes when you go to like certain festivals, and then they got. I don't want to probably throw certain names, but at the same time, it's like I mean, I don't know if you saw the whole fiasco with Highway 30 this year, because last year was like probably the most epic festival I've ever been to. It was it had everybody: Zach Bryan, Co Wetzel, Cody Jinks. I mean, and then those are just the headliners. But everyone under him, Josh Malloy. But they did have the first night was can't think of his name, but he's definitely pop country and everything. But he's kind of getting more towards people like Chase Rice, I think, right? Like he's more, I think, red dirt than he is pop now, or mainstream, I'd say. But I don't know, like Old Dominion stuff. Like I don't know. I mean, sounds good. I can dance to it and everything. But I like that. It's almost too also kind of like what we are sitting here too. It's just kind of like the fact that you can kind of be able to, that they'll come out to the merch table and stuff like that. They're actually a little bit more personal. Don't act like they're always the shit.
Yeah.
Can I curse?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Fuck yes.
Okay. Good deal. All right.
That is one thing that is really cool about the red dirt Texas country Appalachian music, however you want to, I put myself in that same category, I guess. But it is kind of like a brotherhood, which is really cool. I mean, there's definitely some shitheads in there, and there's some outliers in there.
Right.
But it's a lot more of a brotherhood than the Nashville pop country side of things.
Absolutely.
And I think that's for multiple reasons. I mean, one of those, I was just having this conversation the other night. You could put artists into two categories, right? You have the artists that are in it for the art. They're in it for the music. They're in it for that whole lifestyle. They're in it. They're like drifters. I mean, they're road dogs. They're in it for they're in it for the stage time. They're in it for the struggle. And,
right. They struggle.
And to me, that's more of like the red dirt, Appalachian, Texas country, however you want to say it, not mainstream
or outlaw. Even it's just
and then you have the mainstream country, which is like Cody Johnson, Luke Combs, those guys. And I'm not putting Cody Johnson in pop country land, because
but it's just but he's on commercials and stuff.
They're very
like that.
popular, but they're still Texas country.
Oh yeah,
but I'm talking about more of that whole traditional country, which is Cody Johnson, Josh Ward. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Even though they're part of us still, they're in that. But what I've noticed is people that go to that route, and I'm not talking about Josh and I'm not talking about Cody, but there are some people that are on that route that are smaller artists. What it looks to me like is those guys are not really, a lot of those guys are not really in it for the art. They're in it for the fame. And they're just trying to get famous. They're doing whatever they have to do to get famous. So they're going to Nashville and they're sitting in a room and writing songs with 4 or 5 people. And do you know does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's like, what I've really noticed is with the red dirt, whatever, the more indie side of things, we've all been on this grind for a long time, and we all kind of build each other up, right? As opposed to the other ones that are like they'll stab your ass in the back to get ahead,
right?
And so that's what I've noticed between the two factions, big time.
There's a lot of guys that will get really big, really quick, and they are like still humble, and still they just happen to get pushed straight up
like
in the
Cody.
light. And with that, I mean, a lot of, for folks like you, we have, got to support them, because I would like any of y'all to be that one day, and then when y'all get there, it's like, don't forget about where you started kind of thing. But a lot of people do forget where they started.
100%.
And then that obviously, that just kind of gives you a bad taste in your mouth. But there's just, unfortunately, in my opinion, I mean, and I'd love to get into it, and it's your, and politics and all that stuff, but like a lot of just people in America are just, I'm not trying to down it, but and it's, you go to work, you do this back and forth. Not a lot of people have all the time in the world to listen to all this music and go through all this different stuff and look at lyrics and look at album art and, really some, immerse themselves into the culture. Some people just have it in the background. Like it would be like Luke Combs. I used to listen to Luke Combs all the time. But then when it came to Luke Combs and Ryan Upchurch, it was kind of like a TMZ thing. And it was like, well, which one do I pick? And it was like, well, I mean, Luke Combs got some really good music, but then I was like, for my values and what I believe, I was like, well, I mean, I don't know. I kind of think Upchurch had a good point, so I don't know. Yeah. And at that point, yeah, but I mean,
was there beef between those guys?
It's years ago. Yeah.
Oh,
It was
okay.
something. It was a music video, Rebel Flag stuff. It was, it was dicey and everything, but, yeah, it was just something that, he put a song out with the music video, and then he had to, take his name off of it and everything like that. And so, I don't know. But
I don't pay attention to any of that
right.
kind
And so,
of stuff.
and so, I mean, unfortunately, I have a lot of time to do screen time sitting on a boat. So,
But that's good, though. Like, what's crazy is there used to be tons of people like you. Like, there used to be so many people that were, like, legit fans of like indie stuff, right? I remember it used to be like a badge of honor to find a band. Like, I'm the one that found that band.
Absolutely.
Like, I was listening to Nirvana before Nirvana was cool. I mean, I'm not saying I was, but I'm just like that kind of person.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I just don't see that kind of person out there on a regular basis the way I used to see it.
They're not. That's not really there. I mean,
it's sad.
Yeah,
it's really sad.
Because like you said, for that Armadillo Palace show was like, it did blow me away, but kind of not. I mean, I've seen, because Tanner played there and Low Down Judges opened for him, and I mean the place was pretty packed, because it had Tanner there. Now I saw Charlie Crockett there back this summer, and I mean it was completely sold out. I mean because he's Charlie Crockett, and then Charlie Crockett out of nowhere, it seemed like, he's selling them out. And
well, I went and saw Brie Bagwell.
Oh yeah, she's great. Yeah,
either the week before or the week after that, because my buddy Bert, he runs that place. So,
okay.
Brie was playing in town, so Candace and I went on a date. We went out and saw Brie, and who's always just so sweet. But it was the same way. I mean, it was busy. It was definitely way busier with Brie there than with Lowdown Drifters.
Good,
but it's still like people just weren't really.
Well, sometimes it's also like the market in the area. At least that's what I talked to Big John about. Like, if they're in Fort Worth, that's if they're playing anywhere really up there, they're gonna, or even they go out to Nashville, they go out to all these big, they sell out.
Yeah.
But then it's like, we're in Texas. This is like the home state, and then nobody was there.
Yeah.
Now they're from Washington. They go back up to Washington, and then they're selling them out up there too. But I guess depending on which day of the week too you're playing. I think they were playing on the weekend when we were there, but. Just people aren't as diehards as much, I feel like, I feel like they're getting more. I feel like pop country has kind of died to somewhat of a degree. I don't really see much more of actually like bro country.
Fuck, that's all I see.
Really?
Yeah, with Shabuzi.
Oh, yeah.
And Beyonce.
Oh,
and
God.
I
don't really. I guess I don't pay it. That doesn't come up on my.
And Morgan Wallen and Hardy and Ernest and See, I personally don't put Luke Combs or Cody Johnson in that same thing.
I wouldn't with Cody, but I would do with Luke, I guess, but he's got so much music out there.
Luke Combs, Riley Green, Cody Johnson.
See, now I agree with Riley Green.
They're more playing traditional country music. They're not playing like. Now I get it that it's like the top. I guess topical. It's kind of bro country, but it's still like good music. Well, you're not having a bunch of 808s and snap tracks,
right?
And a bunch of synthesizers and all that shit like you do with Morgan Wallen and like you do with Jelly Roll and like you do with Beyonce and Shabuzi and go down the list of these like really pop country folks,
right?
Hardy, Ernest,
Michael Ferguson, him.
Mm-hmm.
So he did one yesterday, a reel, and he was just making fun of that bro country, but he was just, how he was doing it was freaking hilarious. It was hilarious, but that's all you have to do is just bring up catfish and this and this and that and those certain words, and
but even the red dirtest of the red dirtest almost all have one of those kind of songs,
right? No,
it's always like I look at like 90s country, for example. When you got 90s country and you got Diamond Rio and Sawyer Brown and Garth Brooks and Shenandoah and you had songs like Achy Breaky Heart and Watermelon Crawl and just go down.
Those
the
are
list.
mainstream for sure, but they're
those
great.
were
Those
main-
are real. Yeah, but
what I'm saying is, to me, if those songs were released today,
they would be considered bro country.
Bro country.
Yeah, right. But we're in a different era now, and it's
yeah.
I mean, like you said, Riley Green. I saw him 2 or 3 months ago in Maryland, and I mean, it was at a state fair, and it was packed.
He's
and
so good.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
and I wasn't on the rail like I normally was. We got there a little late, but it killed.
Yeah, he's unbelievably good.
Yeah, now it also probably is the appearance, too. People, when you got out there and you got 6-pack and you're tall and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I mean, you're gonna get put into that just because you're a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times with the underground, whatever you want to call it, or red dirt guys, a lot of them just look like any of the rest of guys you work with and stuff, which is honestly what makes you gravitate to those things, I guess, because you feel like they're just genuine, even though they may not be or whatever. Yeah, so I guess looks and social media, a lot of those things have a big impact, I think, on what makes someone start being a diehard. Maybe is that I know that guy, or he's or I feel like I know that guy.
Well, that's what's cool about Red Dirt and about Appalachian music and about Texas country. Whenever you really get into like the indie artist of it, the majority of us are writing our own songs. We're writing our own songs. We're releasing, we're doing it ourselves. It's all DIY stuff.
Right.
As opposed to that other side of things, like I said, the Josh Wards and all those things. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Josh. Josh is fantastic, and I love that dude.
Right.
And I love his music. I'm a huge fan of Josh. But most people that are in that side of things, they go to Nashville, they record in Nashville, they write in Nashville. They're trying to get they're trying to get on that Cody Johnson level or whatever.
Well, a lot of times too, when Cole will come out with a new song or something, I'll look and see like who the writer was, and then say Roper Madison or something, and I'm like, okay, well Josh Serrato, he'll be a lot of impact on what they write, but it's still all their band, or for the most part. And I like that.
Josh Serrato used to play with William Clark Green.
Right.
He was William Clark Green's guitar player, because I remember when he left, I was like, oh, because he was with him forever. It was insane when he left.
A1.
He's also a great producer. He just produced Trent Cowie's new record.
Okay. Yeah.
Which just is about to drop. I think it's about to drop.
And I love that they're just, for me at least as a fan, I feel like now that I know so many different bands, they're just constantly new. Like it's like almost every Friday now, or I'm getting looking forward to some new music coming out. Josh Malloy. I mean, I'm big fans of him, and
you use Spotify?
Spotify, yeah. I mean, I've gone through all that, from whatever the other Pandora and all that stuff, Apple Music trial, because you're paying $10 a month or whatever for whatever. Yeah, definitely Pandora now. I do like that, how they do the whole thing at the end of the year, showing you what your percentage are, what's your main band that you listen to and stuff.
Spotify,
yeah.
So they do a lot of cool stuff. Again, I love Spotify as a platform. I just have a little bit of a problem with the fact that company is 100% on our backs.
Okay.
And we make no money off of it. That's the part I have a problem
Nothing?
with. No.
Damn.
No, I mean, I think it's 0.003 cents a stream. I think. So I think 1 million streams gets you $4,500 on Spotify. So, I mean,
yeah, I think I was looking at your Spotify. I think earlier. I think something around 4,000 listeners per month. I think is what
it fluctuates. It goes up and down. When I release a new song, it'll go up to 5. Like I think it got up to like 5,700 a few weeks ago. And then it drops down to about 2,900, 3,100, something like that. And then I'll release another song and it pops back up. But I haven't released any songs that have popped off.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because it's just one of those things, because people keep telling me it's all about the song. It's all about the song. Whenever you write that song, that one song, it'll take off. But but if nobody hears the fucking song,
right,
it doesn't matter if it's the best song on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, that's why still like Low Down Drifters, everyone's still fire in her eyes. I mean, anyone goes, I mean, like, yeah, that's what got me hooked. I mean, I admit it. That's what, but now I don't ever listen to that song anymore. I mean, but everyone else still wants to request it. But that's what got them, I feel like, took.
But
them
I
off,
haven't
you
even
know?
had that song. I mean,
Right.
the most songs, the most streams I have is Back to Texas. I think I got like
Right.
6,600 streams or something. 66,
Yeah, I like peaks and valleys. Yeah, but
66,000
that's
streams.
yeah, well, that's like even like I say, JT Reserve, my favorite band back home. You know, I mean, we got Running on Credit as well, but they only have like I just looked too, and it was like 400 or 500 monthly listeners. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, that's like me and my wife. Like I know more people like all around there. That's enough. I mean, there must be like nobody else listening to them outside, and that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, they said I just looked at the numbers. This was a few months ago, and there's over 8 million artists on Spotify. 8 million.
Okay.
Only about 500,000 of them ever top 1,000 monthly listeners.
Yeah, Meg. Yeah, it's a hard industry you're in. Yeah,
So,
I mean it's.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in Austin with a buddy on a Sunday night back last year after Two Step, and like I said, end of the weekend on Sunday, and we were just walking around. You know, I think we were on 6th Street, and I heard some of our music playing in the background. And we walk up there to Antone's, and you know, no cover, nothing. Walk right in there, and this is like, you know, this isn't country at all. This is like indie. I don't even know what you'd call it. It was the girl was I'll think of it in a second, but she had 3.3 million listeners per month. Sir Chloe, and I'd never heard of her, but I mean, and like I said, I like all sorts of music. So
Gary Clark Jr. owns that place, I think.
does he?
I think so.
Really? Okay. But just blew me away. That it just on a Sunday, no cover, walk in, and this girl's got her and her band. Other girl's got her bra on the outside of her shirt. I mean, very different looking, you know. But I mean, they were good. I mean, it wasn't my type of music per se, but it was good. But just to know like how many listeners she's got. But I think she's based out of, you know, some big city, and I think it's probably what gets you. You got to. I mean, I guess if you really want to. Not to say make it, but like to get that exposure sometimes is going to Nashville or having that person like featuring on your song, having somebody, you know, have somebody come in that's if it's Charles Wesley Godwin or something, like, you know, if he's singing on your song, then the people are like, oh, they're friends, or and then that hooks a lot of people. I probably, I don't know, 10%, 20% of the people I listen to, that's how I probably found out about them, because one of the people I already listened to featured with their song, and then I learned about that person that way, which, you know, so that's always something.
Yeah, collaborations always work too. It's I mean, there is no right or wrong way to do it. You just got to do it. Now, the only thing that you got to be careful of is that a lot of that shit is bought and paid for, and when it's bought and paid for, it doesn't work the same. And that's part of the reason why so many live music venues are shutting down left and right, is because they've been booking based off of those numbers. They've been booking based off Spotify numbers, off TikTok numbers.
It's not working for. I mean,
No,
no one's
think
coming.
about it. If you got there's how many people are in the United States alone? 350 million,
roughly, yeah.
So if you have 3 million monthly listeners, where are those people at? Right? They could be anywhere in the world.
Right.
So
that's true. Yeah.
So to say that that's going to relate to ticket sales for the normal musician, it's just that, and then it's just not. And like I said, a lot of that shit is bought and paid for. I mean, you can spend enough money to get your streams, or to get those numbers up there.
Right.
If you have the cash flow to do it. I mean, that's why the record labels are starting to make money again, is because they bought their way into the Spotify playlist and all that shit. They're the ones that run all that stuff again.
What do you think about like people like you got different shows like Landman out, you know, Yellowstone.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably didn't know who Shane Smith and the Saints were, and then they, you know,
100%.
they're watching this show and they're like, oh, that's a cool, you know, obviously you got Zach Bryan and stuff like that, but which he's already made it before that, but yeah, Landman just came out. We've been watching that. You know, you got you know, Treaty Yoga is one of my top favorites.
Yeah, Laney Wilson. I mean, that's what launched Laney.
Right.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think anytime you have somebody like that's showcasing that genre of music is pretty awesome. But, you know, does it work for everybody?
Well,
you know,
there's just not enough volume for that. I mean, what is it, Taylor Sherrington? I mean, thank God he has a good taste of music, you know, because that's a lot of what we like watching them shows. They're good quality shows, but then I just saw Ward Davis a few weeks ago, and then he was on there, you know, and it was like, this is awesome, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty rad, man. I opened up for Shane right before that happened, and I opened up for him again right after it happened.
Sweet.
and you could definitely tell the difference.
Oh yeah, now I've been listening to them for a few years now, and I've had the opportunity to go to their shows and meet them all and hang out with them,
cool
but
dudes.
now it's like I'll catch them, one of them will recognize me, and then but it's they're way too busy now.
Yeah, and I also don't know about staying power anymore too, and that's another thing. I know, like, take Whiskey Myers. They were riding high, but I haven't really heard much from them lately.
Like new music and stuff?
Just period. I don't really hear much about them anymore.
Well, maybe around here, I guess, but like I got friends back up in Washington, and the ones that are, I'd say conservative or like country music, because a lot of people that just aren't, people still have that little feel like they just don't like country music. They're just not into country, but it's like you haven't really country music now is a really big span of stuff. 100%. Like there's stuff that doesn't even sound country, but it's still in that category. But those folks back up there, they are just listening to Whiskey Myers still and a lot of stuff, and then I'll open up their horizon and new stuff, and they're like, oh shoot, I guess I need to start listening to this.
I'm really hoping so. I mean, it's like I look at the entertainment industry, and I think like take like Matchbox 20 for example. Those guys, when they first came out, that first album had like 6 number ones or some crap on it.
I grew up with that. I'm 37, and that was big. Yeah,
me too.
I still love to go see him.
Me too. And then like Rob Thomas did his like little pop career, and then they're still releasing music. Those guys, their catalog alone, with what they got going, will feed them for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was pre all this shit. But I don't know. I don't know that it's like that with anybody that takes off now.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see that.
Because of the lack of payment and all that shit.
Yeah, and there's just that I'm sure of that, and then also just the volume of music that's out there, and then we just have so many people in this country, but you got things like Creed popping back up, and what's that band that everyone used to hate, that Nickelback, things like that, but it's like, and they're good, It's
Nickelback always put on a good show.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't even know how they ever got that rep, but
well, because people hate anything that's good. Like they hate, like I don't like Morgan Wallen because I just don't think he's good.
Right.
I think he's the poster child for industry built artist.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that about Zach now. I've been to multiple Zach shows. I've been on the rail and love it, but now I've kind of gotten to the point that's like, I need
Zach Bryan.
I'm kind of like, I need to hear something new.
It seems like he's kind of a douche.
I don't. Well, if we can get into all that one too, like long. Yeah, I'll put it out there. Like, I mean, this is not gonna say who I heard it from, but multiple people. But yeah, Highway 30 last year, and I knew a lot of people that were playing. But when he came on to do his set, which was obviously the headliner that night, I think it was sold out, 30,000 something plus people, and he kicked out all the people on the side. He just only let his family come up there. Normally you let their bands come up there on the side, but yeah, he just that's just one thing, but.
Well, that's pretty standard for those big artists like that. Gary Allen did the same thing when we played with him.
Okay.
On a festival, he like kicked everybody out the first time. Second time, I was like, I'm not fucking leaving. You could do whatever you want to do.
I just saw Gary last week open for bucket list for me, Dwight Yoakam.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good live. Gary Allen is. But it's. I mean, I don't know Zach. I like his music a lot. It is kind of repetitive. It's kind of the same thing over and over and over. But like that whole thing with the whole Brianna chicken fry and all that shit, and like.
But I mean, head inside. I mean, he had. I mean, when he was back there, I guess it was COVID or something, or I mean, he just that, like his recordings that he was doing out there at his house and stuff. I mean, you could feel the emotion in it, and it was really. Really good. Now I guess fame's kind of taken over a little bit, and I know his dad and all that stuff, and it just you can just kind of tell it's they've gone, they've made it, and it shows, but I still wish everybody the best, but I like to be able to take that spotlight, or share that spotlight a little bit, and
well, I thought it was cool that day that Rich O'Toole did the thing on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that, but Rich O'Toole tweeted out a tweet that said that Zach Bryan stole one of his songs.
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
And it like took off, and then Zach Bryan put out a video of
really
Rich's song, and they're like singing Rich's song in in his car,
Okay.
which was pretty cool. I thought that was a pretty cool deal that he, you know what I mean? And he didn't take offense to it or anything. He's like, I wrote that song, whatever. I can't remember the two songs, but it was like kind of a thing. I thought that was pretty cool of Zach to do that. But, you know, now I have a really, because of what I saw my mom go through, I have a really hard time being able to respect anyone who either physically or mentally or emotionally abuses their significant other.
Absolutely.
I don't,
Yeah.
I have no, that's the first thing that will just knock it. I'm done. Like, I won't even.
It's personal for you. I mean,
Yeah.
I think everybody deserves a second chance, but I mean, if you're not going to confront it, and then like you said, the Brianna, the chicken fry situation, I mean, he hadn't really responded to it at all, and you know,
I mean, if he really offered her $12.9 million
kind of
to
speaks
keep
for
her mouth
itself.
shut,
Yeah, paying an MMA fighter to name drop him or something. The guy that later on tells he doesn't even know who he is. You know,
yeah, like what? Yeah, like that's the kind of stuff that gets me. But that's just pop culture, man. I mean, you gotta, like, once you get on top, you gotta figure out ways to stay on top.
Yeah, I mean, he's up there. I don't think he's really going to go anywhere. I don't think.
Oh, he'll be gone. I mean, same thing with Luke Combs. I mean, Luke Combs, like 2 years ago, it was Luke Combs and Morgan Wallen. They were the kings. They were
Right.
they're nothing they could do was wrong. But Luke's not up there anymore. I mean, that last album he put out has gotten very little love.
Right. Well, like the whole thing we're talking. I mean, I think once you get up there, then you just, you got the house, you got the kid, you got everything you ever needed, and at that point, you think that this is the time that you can really, like. I mean, you don't have any other stresses and all that stuff, and you can just make music. But reality is, like, a lot of the good music comes out of like struggle and pain
100%.
and breakups and all that stuff. I mean, I'm a sad country guy. I mean, that's what I love that. I mean, I'm happily married now and everything, but it's like I know the times that. Yeah, just hearing that sad stuff is what hits you in the heart,
Yeah.
And when they've made it, I guess it could be difficult, speaking from when you're living in a mansion, and so like
I guess so. I don't know. I wish I could figure out a way to test that hypothesis.
Right? Go home and get in a fight tonight with old lady.
That would be cool if I could figure out how to get myself into a mansion for, if I could get up in that kind of money. And then I would gladly test that hypothesis for
Right.
you.
I think it's, yeah.
I don't think it would affect me. I really don't. I think that if I had a song right now, this is what I think would happen. I think if I had a song that fucking popped off right now, like Oliver Anthony style.
Right. Oh yeah. Whew. Yeah.
Which is
Great.
impossible to do. But
Yeah.
like if that happened to me, I would take a certain percentage of the money and I would buy me a piece of land somewhere for sure. I had to put enough money up in an account somewhere to pay for those taxes on that land
right.
for the next 100 years. You know what I mean? So that way it's taken care of. I don't have to worry about it. And then what I would immediately do is I would start my own label, starting there, and I would start going out finding other artists and trying to build them up.
And I think also if you made it that big too, because country music in general, in my opinion, is kind of a conservative crowd, or people that are that's what. And so a lot of people that are conservative have these values that, like, if you contribute money to like charities, or not even just contribute, but like if you actually go out there and do the work of showing that you're a good guy, goes a long way. I mean, it does for me personally. I mean, if I see someone doing something like, Oliver Anthony, I saw him last year, and he opened up, like, he had his Bible with him the whole time, and it was just like, it was really cool.
Yeah, and he bought a bunch of land up there, and that's what he's doing, is he's actually building homes for people up there.
That's awesome. And he gets a lot of hate. I hear a lot of
mostly it's jealousy. Mostly people say he's an industry plant and all that shit. I know guys that know him personally, and he's the furthest from that. Say he's one of the realest dudes they've ever met in their life. Like Scooter Brown's one of my good friends, and he told me that he was as advertised. Yeah, no, I'd like to see more music that he, like that, the one that hit. I'd like to see more of that come out from him. And that'd be great. But yeah, no, absolutely, he's a great. I mean, he was out there signing, on the front and everything like that. And I was way over the side, but I had my dog with me, and he stopped right there in the middle. He's like, "I got to go meet this dog." And so I was like, "That was cool, very cool."
Yeah, he went right back to go and do what he was doing after he met me. But yeah, that was.
And see, I think that's how I would be. I really do, because even now, like when I play festivals and stuff, I'm the first one there. I'm the last one to leave. I party with everybody. I hang out with everybody.
That's huge.
Like,
That's huge for people,
you know,
for fans. Huge,
yeah, dude.
huge.
I watch every show. I hang out. I dance. I do stories. I do all that stuff just to like, because to me that's like my favorite part of the thing is being with the people.
Yeah. Or even like responding to social media. I don't expect. I'm sure some of these people get blown up, you know, of messages and so forth. But I mean, sometimes I've just like shot up somebody a message that I had never, maybe I met, you know, just really quickly, but then they'll respond, and then it's like, oh wow, okay. Yeah. I mean, I know, like I said, I don't expect anybody to
Same here.
But it's I don't know, it just feels real, I guess. Like I have multiple people I know that have done that are big, you know, not Luke Combs big, but yeah, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that's how I got in touch with Adam Hood. Was I just shot him a message, and now him and I are working on this song together, and
that'll be good.
Or we might work on the song together. He told me to get back with me, but yeah, I mean they're just people. They're just people, just like you're a person or anybody else as a person, and just some people take the success. Some people let stuff go to their heads, and then they think that they're, because of what they accomplished, they're better than anybody else or whatever. But some people you can never even. I mean, look at like Keanu Reeves. I mean, the dude still, or like Christian Bale. Like Christian Bale, like still drives like a '97 Toyota
really?
Tacoma.
Well, I know he's a great actor. He's one of those, what do you call the actors that like
method actors?
Yes, yeah, right, yeah.
Like it's just funny because, you know, some people just don't ever let it go to their head. I think I would definitely have some fun for once, for a minute. You know, I'd go to Vegas and
absolutely.
You know, I'd have me some nice dinners, and I would probably throw a few parties, and we would definitely have a little bit of fun. But I think what I would immediately do is start a label and sort of so I can start helping other artists, because I think that's one of the big problems with the country in general, not just with music, is that everything is about fucking money. Right. Everything.
So to start a label, like what is that? That's just money basically?
Right. So basically what I would do, instead of doing what Nashville does, these 80-20 deals or whatever they got going on, where they get 80, they basically give you they'll give you $3 million, and then you sign a contract. And they get 80% of everything you make. You get 20%, but you don't get that 20% till you pay back the $3 million that got paid back. Okay. That's why so many people have one hit wonders. They don't ever get a chance to go further than that. That's part of the reason why. And so what I would do is I would start like the opposite way. It'd be like a 80-20 deal, but it would be like 80-20 where the artist gets the 80. And if I don't ever make my money back, that's fine. But I can help another artist, reach their goals.
Get some exposure and stuff. And if you get enough artists that are really good, then it'll be natural. I mean,
and then next thing you know, you have one of those labels that's like Yellowstone, where they're just pushing out, movies. And now you have a cool label that's like really pushing really cool artists, like Josh Malloy and. Can you imagine if Jordan Nicks had a little bit of money behind him?
Oh my God, that's one of the guys that I just, it still boggles my mind about how he's not. I mean, I don't see it have to be. I just don't understand why.
Because he doesn't really try.
Probably, yeah. He's got, and absolutely, I guess that's it. I mean, but even like Midnight River Choir, they've been around on the scene forever. I mean, you go out there to New Braunfels, and I mean, their pictures are up in all these different restaurants and stuff. But then outside of that, you talk to them or talk to anybody about it, like they have no clue who that is. But I mean, they played at Red Rocks, and also, it just still blows me away that, people I feel like back to just are kind of sheep. I feel like a lot of people just kind of stick with one thing and kind of like they don't really venture out. A lot of, like kind of T Swift people, they just kind of stay with one thing. If you're a true Luke Bryan fan, there's not much help for you or hope for you. Like if you're, I don't really know. Me, I'm the opposite. I'm always wanting to look for new music.
Yeah, me too. I don't like hearing stuff I've heard. I mean, I'll listen to it, but for the most part, if I heard the song before, I just like to go down playlists of stuff that.
Oh, for sure. Like Whiskey Myers stuff. Like I don't listen to them as much now. If somebody's covering them, because it's a song I know and I love, but it's hearing somebody else sing it. And then when they came up with their last record, I was like, okay, they got some really good bangers on there. But I want to keep. It needs to keep happening, Otherwise, yeah, it just for people like myself, I want to hear something new.
Yeah. Man, I've seen Whiskey Myers like 3 times, and the first 2 times I saw them was like earth shattering, like mind blowing.
Right.
Like holy shit. But I saw them this last year at the Houston Rodeo. I played the same night they did.
I was there. Yeah, we were, that's right. We were both. Yeah, yeah. Well, I was. I mean, I was up in the nosebleeds, and it was just cool to be there in all its sense. But yeah,
dude, that was so bad.
Yeah,
it was so bad, and I'm sure it's the sound. I'm sure it's not.
It was definitely the sound. Yeah, it was. Yeah, because me and Roger were up there together, and it was. Yeah, I mean, like it was, for me personally, it was. I'm like I said, I'm a front row or don't go kind of guy, and so if I don't get, I stress out. Like if I don't make it to the door and get in there on time, I really almost don't even want to be there. I just don't. Not only do I want to be able to lean on something, and but I mean, just having that being right there in the front is huge to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never enjoyed the rodeo thing. I mean, I've seen Stapleton there. I've seen Maroon 5 there. I've seen Kiss there.
I saw Maroon 5 when they were small when I was in high school with Cypress Hill and buddies of mine were on. They won the Battle of the Bands, so they opened, and then it was Maroon 5 and then Cypress Hill, and I got a crazy story from that. But
and he got Me Too'd, so they're not even around anymore.
Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's but for Houston Rodeo, I like the barbecue cook-off.
Yeah,
I like the tent.
I like the rodeo.
Yeah,
I like the rodeo too.
Yeah,
I like the rodeo. I like the go all the animals. I love all that
love
stuff.
all that. Yes.
I just don't really like the shows.
No, it's just kind of like, I don't know if I was taught before we started this or not, but like I'm not big on a lot of the festivals that are multi-stages, because I like to go and I'm going there. I mean, I want to be at that stage in the front. I make friends. We bring friends, but we make friends with everybody on the rail, because everybody's got to get up to go get more beer and go pee. And so when you leave, you want to be able to go back and get your spot.
Yeah.
And I kind of figured out a method over the past couple of years. I used to like just go straight back through the crowd. Like, I'm sitting on the rail. I'm going to go the fastest way to the bathroom. Just go straight. You don't do that, because all those people are constantly kind of moving and everything. And then when you're coming back, it's hard. Now, for me personally, I'm usually dressed uniquely, and I'm making I'm saying weird stuff so they remember me. They know who this guy is coming back. But now I always go right down the rail. I just follow it, because we're all rail people. Yeah. So they see me going back and forth. We're all on the rail together. They all share the same thing. We want our spots back, and I'm also coming back with like 4 beers. Yeah. That's always a good thing to know, because they're not like, oh, he's just one guy sneaking up there. It's I'm bringing back gifts to the front, which is funny, because at 2-step, a lady came up there and she had her daughter was missing, and came up to right before Hank Williams went on and everything, but her daughter was missing, and we go up there and the security came up. I'm like, okay, well, what's the situation? Like, yeah, my daughter's missing. I'm like, okay, how old is she? Okay, she's 17. I'm like, okay, she said, that's your daughter's missing. She's 17. Like, is it really a missing daughter? Like, and so then they're like, okay, well, where are you gonna where are you gonna be at if we can find her? And she's like, well, can I just stay right here and wait? I'm like, everybody around us were like we've been here all day. Like, I was fine with me, but the people that she was right by was like, she just come up here to get on the rail. Yeah. We all felt like, and I was telling it to my buddies and the girls next to me were like, oh, what if she really is, what if tomorrow she's dead? I'm like, yeah, I'd feel bad, but most cases that wasn't the situation.
Well,
I got the
and
vibe.
Tomorrow's tomorrow, and right now I'm trying to enjoy this fucking concert.
Yes, yeah. And so
we'll worry about dead bodies tomorrow.
Right.
Not today.
But big on to like what how you are, like people going to shows. I go there to listen. I'll talk a little bit here and there, but I mean, it's really like I'm the one that's like, I start lowering my voice. I try not to be disrespectful to my own friends, my own people. I'm like, hey, let's talk after the song's going, kind of thing. Because even in a huge festival, because even if you're talking, that shit spreads. Other people just start doing it. And I mean, who was it? It was something at 2-Step too that like I think it was Winona Ryder. I can't think, but some gal went up there, was singing, and it just, you could tell on her face, because everyone in the whole crowd were all just, they weren't paying any attention, and you could see it on her face that she knew no one was really listening, and I felt bad for her. And but that's another thing, big of why I like being on the rail, is because I'm usually the one trying to get as much energy, because then they see me, I see them, it makes them perform better, 100%. And then they perform better, and then we get more involved, and it's a transactional thing. And
that's the one thing that people don't understand. I've talked about on this podcast multiple times. It's like what's gone away is like the human connection. That's what's gone away. Mm-hmm. Because before 2020, when we were playing shows, and even if it's just a bar show, doesn't matter where it was at, doesn't matter if it's just a Joe Blow's bar, you would always have people paying attention to what you're doing.
Yeah,
and you would have some sort of a conversation with the audience. be applause or tips or heckling or whatever. There was always something going on. And now when we play these shows nowadays, it seems like there's a fucking wall there. And
well, social media's got a lot to do. Like if I'm sitting there and the band's going hard and I'm looking at my phone, maybe other people concerned think, oh, he's over there texting or looking through his email or something. I'm probably like, I'm looking for what's that drummer's name, or I'm trying to pull my camera up or my something like, and then I'm in it. And but yeah, no, it's you gotta.
I don't think anyone ever questions you whether you're in it or not at a show.
Right. Well, I mean, I try, and that's why I was like Seven Oaks back in LaBelle outside of Beaumont. It's a true listening room. I mean, any artist that comes through there, I think she's going to have Zane Williams, and then she's got Caitlin Butts coming there. And at the end of this year, we just found out, I mean, it's not official yet, but Brent Cobb might be there next year. So it's like, you're going to meet them, you're going to eat with them, you're going to hang out with them. But also when you're in the show, like in the middle of the show, you can't even get up and leave during the song. You have to wait for that song. Then you can walk back. Doors are closed. I mean, there's no talking.
Yeah, people tell you shut up. Have you been to the Redbird in New Braunfels?
Yes.
Same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, cool little spot. Do-si Do's kind of like that. The Big Barn. Mm-hmm. The openers, for some reason, nobody really gives a shit about, but they seem to do pretty good for the headliners.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, like I said, they go for the headliner, and then, but they should. Yeah, if you like music and you're going there most likely that the openers are gonna be similar kind of music to that. Yeah. A lot of if it's like I see Austin Meade or something. I'm trying to think of some other names, but like people like Cole Barnhill, I didn't know who he was, and he's totally like rock, but I was like, I would have never known him if I didn't see going there for this headliner, and then I get pulled into that. Like I said, Parker Ryan never.
Yeah, that's the way I always was. I would go to shows and I would get there early specifically so I could watch the openers. And I've stumbled on so many. I mean, the first time I saw Fuel was they opened up for somebody. The first time I saw No Doubt, they opened up for Goo Goo Dolls and Bush.
Right.
First time I saw Goo Goo Dolls was they opened up for Bush. This is before they became a bunch of pansies. One of my favorite bands to this day is called the Mayfield Four. They were back in like the early 2000s. It's like a rock band, and Miles Kennedy was a singer who's now like a singer for Alter Bridge, and he does all Slash's stuff and all that stuff. Cool. Super, super just killer fucking vocalist, man. And I used to pride myself on finding those bands that before anyone else
Absolutely,
did.
Yeah.
You
it
know
is a
what
cool
I mean?
feeling, yeah.
Yeah, because you stumble on somebody. Like I love sending texts. I'm a sender of music, right? So I'll find something I know somebody might like, and I'll send them a text. Hey, check these people out.
Right.
Because I think that's the best way to do something. Like I think the best way, if I'm feeling a certain way and I want to let my girlfriend know how I'm feeling, I'll send her a song. Mm-hmm. As opposed to like sending a fucking text that.
Right. Yeah. Mostly it's Instagram or something, posting something on a story, or something for me. Yeah. And just trying to, because I listen to a lot of music and I want people to, spread the wealth of knowledge of music and just give them something else to listen to when you're sitting there drinking your coffee in the morning and sitting that same thing you listen to, because there's so much good music out there. It's just, it just needs to be heard. You got people like Zach Top, just, good, really good music. I mean, I saw him right then. Culture Wall went right on after, and I was like, damn.
Oh, that's
I was like,
both killer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then Hank Williams came on after that, and Hank was up there talking about me in the crowd because I was up there like, I mean, I was full sending it, and he was like, this guy's not gonna know the next words, whatever it was. I mean, he was joking, obviously, and but that was, I mean, everyone around me was like, damn, let's go, But yeah, Zach killed it that day.
How do we bottle that? Like, how do you bottle you and make that contagious for more people? How like that's my question that I'm kind of trying to find out right now. It's like, all right, if no one's really listening to my music, is it because my music's bad? Is it because I'm not marketed correctly? Is it because I haven't found the right audience yet, or is it because the audience just isn't there anymore?
I think the market, marketing, I think getting just so that people hear,
and how in the fuck do I market more than I already do without spending thousands and thousands of dollars? I'm more active on social media than I think anybody out there.
Right. Yeah.
Am I too active on social media? Is that part of the problem?
No. I think I think you can still ramp it up a little bit. I mean, I think that going against the grain, I think speaking your mind is huge, I don't think you have to talk about politics and stuff like that. I love it, personally, but other people, they don't.
And I don't a lot.
That actually could be like a turnoff. For me,
Yeah.
like I said, I love it personally, but more of just getting your face out there, and maybe some stickers and stuff, and just putting it everywhere, letting people know that what you're doing.
I just feel like I push so hard with not a lot of with not a lot of success, if that makes sense. Now I've played some great shows and I've had a lot of fun and I've made some money, and I don't have any complaints, but it's like what I don't want to do is I don't want to sit here and complain about the industry anymore. That's the one thing I know I don't want to do, because complaining about it does not.
Complaining, that word, in the sense, you can use that or use it. Or critiquing. It's.
Yeah.
I don't see it as a bad thing. People probably in the industry obviously can take it the wrong way, maybe, but people from the outside, I think it's like, oh, this guy's actually saying something that I don't hear anybody critiquing the industry. I very rarely do I hear people talking about, the deeper, the bad sides of what's going on, and people like to hear that stuff. I think.
Yeah, and that's what I thought too. To be honest with you, man, the only people that I've had issues with are artists that I probably would have had issues with anyway.
Right.
Like I haven't had a bigger artist have a negative, and that's what's really funny about it, is I keep getting critiqued, or I keep getting told to shut up by all these people that are bottom feeders.
Right.
You know what I mean? I consider myself a bottom feeder too. They're either my level or below. But I do have the respect of the William Clark Greens and the Cody Canadas,
right,
and the Shane Smiths and the Adam Hoods. Those guys are all follow me on social media, or I have their phone number on my phone, or whatever the case may be. So obviously I'm not a total piece of shit if I have all of that going on. But I do have a lot of artists that, and it's usually something along the lines of, like when I made the post about the iPad, about being a half-ass musician last Halloween, it was a total fucking joke. I just shared anyway, I didn't even make it.
Right. Oh, using the iPad to read off of lyrics and stuff?
I got roasted by so many bottom
Really?
musicians.
I think if you're sitting there like you're a high school band kind of thing and you're just glued into it, that's annoying. That makes you kind of a turn off. But I just watched Eric Middleton and Josh Pomero of JT Reserve and Midnight River Choir. They're just doing a song swap just last week for the day before Thanksgiving, and they both had their iPads up there, and they're both, because they were singing original stuff, but then they kind of were throwing our stuff, and I didn't personally notice it, or I didn't feel one way or another about it, because they're just up there kind of freeballing it,
Yeah. Well, that's what I tell everybody all the time. Like, if I'm going to play a 3-hour show where I get a bunch of cover and stuff, I might use my iPad.
Well, I like when you'll go live, you're sitting there live, so not only are you got the people there in the bar or whatever it is, and if they're paying attention or not, but then you got people on Instagram. Even if it's only 8 people watching, it's, I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. But like Ward Davis, I feel like doesn't really have as much traction out there. But then he just got on Landman, But he does, his social media posts are always like, they're funny, and it's always
so hilarious.
But
he's super connected too, because of the songs he's written for Jinx.
All like
he's very, very, very connected, and that's what's really cool about seeing kind of the older heads like Ward Davis. West Ship is another one.
Yes, yeah. Need to catch him for sure.
A bunch of those guys, they've been doing it for so long that they kind of, like me, I have a lot of network too. My problem is all my network is in Houston, and all these Houston musicians, none of them are, I'm not saying none of them, some of them are, but the majority of them aren't really trying.
Right.
They're not really in it. Right.
Yeah.
You got Peyton Howie, who definitely is. You got Chad Cook, who definitely is.
Yeah.
Myself. You got Trent Cowie, who is. But the majority of them are either happy just going and playing a cover show, making $300 or $400, or they're just getting fucked up, and it's all about the party. It's not about the business. It's not about the art. It's just about. I
don't see a lot of music in Houston. Rap music's killer there. A lot of big heads that came out of that. But in my opinion, I don't really like I said, we've been to venues there in Houston. They're like nobody's there. I mean, I've been to some pretty cool venues there. And they're like when I saw Dexter and the Moonrocks the first time, it was like Last Cafe or something.
Last Concert Cafe.
Yes, that's a cool little spot. My middle name's Houston, so like I love Houston in a lot of ways, but I just don't, New Braunfels I feel like is a really good place for music.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to say.
know.
Like if I would lived in, Fort Worth, or if I lived in New Braunfels, I might have a total different
I think so.
thing than me living down here in Houston, because it's just nobody down here wants to do anything. Nobody wants to collaborate. Nobody wants to write. Nobody wants to do content. Like nobody wants to do show. Everybody. It's all about playing a show. Philip Griffin calls Houston the land of gig whores.
Okay,
that's what he calls Houston, Texas, which is pretty accurate. Assessment, I think.
I mean, I'm out in in Orange, Texas, which is outside of Beaumont, and Beaumont, in no means at all is it some type of like music town at all. But there is, there's just not much to do there. So the people, it's all mostly rednecks, conservative people, or so forth, and they all listen to country music, and so they got to go somewhere to listen to it. And the only few bands that are there, they got a good little diehard little following,
cool.
But then they go other places. And then there's not very much following,
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to figure out is like, how do we build? It's either A, we need to build some sort of a scene here, or B, I need to move out of here and go to somewhere where there's a scene.
I think you're right on both of those. Yeah, I think one or the other. I think I don't know how,
but I don't know that it's possible here.
The latter is definitely easier. Not easier maybe for just you particularly, but just move it off to somewhere. Trying something new. That's what I'm fixing to do here shortly for my career. I've been where I'm at for 6 years, and it's just gotten stagnant. Now today I just got 2 referrals from 2 different jobs. One's in California, and one's in Washington. Never in my mind would I ever thought I'd be moving to California, but it's a good job, and it's not in the city. It's out in the farmland, up on the foothills of at the bottom of the mountains. And then Washington State, it's up by my grandparents, up by where everybody's like, oh, Twilight Forks. That's the only thing that people know for that part of that area. But I'm just
but once both of those states, once you get out of the big cities, they're fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Eastern Washington is like a mecca. Like, if you've ever been to the Gorge Amphitheater, I've seen Dave Matthews there. I saw my first concert there was Backstreet Boys or something, or Keith Sweat, I think.
Nice.
And but yeah, the Gorge Amphitheater is probably I've been to Red Rocks. Red Rocks was killer. I saw Revolution there, so I like reggae too, and huge Revolution fan. But the Gorge Amphitheater, I mean, Lake Chelan, I mean, there's Eastern Washington is awesome. And then, California is probably the prettiest state in the whole country, but it's got a bad, obviously, rep from politics, the cost of living, and, just politics, because that just a trickle down, crime and everything else comes from the leadership there. And it's just,
that's insane.
Yeah.
California's fucking insane.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody can look at that state
right, and think that they're doing something.
And think they're doing anything right.
Yeah, it's
embarrassing. And I'm not one of these like hardcore ultra right wing conservatives either.
No, right, and that's why I'm glad we're like sitting, because a lot of stuff I listen to yours. I mean, I think I'm like 80-20. There'd be like, because I have a few different liberal tendencies of things I do that I'm proud of and so forth, or my views.
Too.
But there's certain things that you talked about, and I was like, I don't really know if I agree on that. But I like that. I mean, I like to hear, I just like that where I've been here for so long, I'm just surrounded by so many people that are like-minded, which can be great in a lot of ways. But also it's nice to like be in other places that, you hear different things. You don't have to agree with it, but just it's fresh. I was just in West Virginia. I became now I'm an instructor. I'm a boat instructor for the federal government. But I was up there in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, right by Maryland. That's when I went and saw that Riley Green show. But I'm like driving up by Antietam Battlefield, one of the most deadliest battlefields in the Civil War. And I also Trump flag, Harris flag, Trump flag, Harris flag. I was like, how do these people live right next to each other? But they do, and it's functioning, and it was a beautiful place. I mean, I was like, I thought always like Maryland, all that. In my mind, I was thinking just liberal city, just I kind of thought in my mind. I went up there and it was freaking beautiful. I was like, I will move here. I mean, I would move here.
Where was that at?
Shepherdstown, West Virginia.
Yeah.
Not far from Frederick, Maryland, which is where he.
Maryland's a beautiful state.
God.
I had no idea when I drove through there. I went to Delaware a couple of years ago. I did a run up through there, and I was. I mean, the only thing I know about Maryland is Baltimore. That's the only thing I know because
right.
Prior to that trip, I've never been northeast of past Memphis.
Right.
Right.
Well, Patrick's up there. I forget where Patrick's at of metal versus country.
Oh yeah,
I think he's in Pennsylvania or something.
yeah, he's up there somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And what's funny is I'm actually starting to connect with folks up there now. Because
Right.
I have like Mickey LaMancha's from Connecticut. Nick Bossy's from Connecticut. He was just down here not too long ago.
Well, they got a lot of people up there. Like I said, you're talking about Appalachian stuff. I mean, that gets kind of tied into the red dirt, but like there's a whole scene up there. Like I said, if I moved to California or Washington is going to be even harder for me. I'd have to go all the way to Seattle, and then it's only those certain bands that are going to come through there. California will have at least a little bit more options, I can go to Vegas or other stuff, but it's going to be big city kind of stuff, If I had a perfect choice, I'd be living in North Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina. Those are some of the prettiest states in my opinion.
I just wanted to move to Central Texas. Like,
yeah. Oh, well, if I could live anywhere, it'd be
Texas.
New Braunfels. It'd be River Road in New Braunfels.
Yeah, New Braunfels. But
I don't know if you consider that central, but I mean,
I like the Glen Rose area. I like the weather, like Granbury area is really nice.
Oh yeah,
there's some nice areas. You know what sucks about living down here in Southeast Texas, besides the fact that it's hot and it's muggy and there's no music scene, is that you're so far away from everything.
Right.
So in order to get anywhere cool, you got to drive at least 4 hours.
Right.
You know what I mean? I guess you can be in, San Antonio or Austin.
It's a lot better than if you're out in Nebraska or South Dakota or something.
But think about it. If like I have to play a show in Amarillo,
right? You got to drive.
I have to wake up,
drive
8.5 hours to fucking play a show.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Texas is so big, and we're down in the butthole of it.
Yeah. I mean, I have a Louisiana driver's license. I've been over the past 10 years. I've lived in 5 or 6 different states. But I just never changed because why am I going to do it? I know I'm going to have another job the next year somewhere else. I'm not going to change my license. But for me, it's alligator hunting is like my favorite thing to do here. But it used to only be 1 month out of the year. Now it's 2 months. I'll get 3 tags every year. But when that comes around, I mean, I'm freaking stoked. That's it. And then outside of that, yeah, the barbecue's good. Tex-Mex is good. I mean, but I'm starting to lose weight again. I'm like getting
the people are nice down here too.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I lived in Colorado. I lived up in the mountains in Grand Lake, and so very rural, pretty, but yeah, the food sucked up there. The people were 50-50,
I love Colorado just because of the nature.
Topography. Yeah, it's just
to me it's the most beautiful state. I love it.
I'd probably agree.
I could live there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I always say Georgia because of like certain politics, and then if you go North Georgia, I mean mountains and stuff. But yeah, Colorado. I mean, 14 of the highest mountains or something, and Colorado is tits by far.
I usually spend quite a bit of time up there. I love Colorado, but there's not really a big music scene up there either. So it's like you're trying to figure out where to go. I think my best bet would if I could get up to like the Fort Worth area or the New Braunfels area. The problem is it's just so expensive to live up.
Both of those places. That's if you wanted to really get that exposure. I totally agree. That would be more than San Antonio and Austin. Austin's pretty good too in the sense for that,
But in the end, I don't know where I'm at right now in my career. Candace and I, we went to a tree lighting, like a town tree lighting.
Yeah, I saw that. I looked at that city. I saw that.
We were out there and we were like, why don't we just move out here? I mean, everybody was so nice, and it was just the small town feel, and I missed that because that's how I was born and raised.
Close by. Yeah, that's
Lake Livingston's right down the road. It's not too far away from my family, so I can still get to my family and stuff. I don't know, man. We're definitely playing around with it. I wish that something would take off to where I could live anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like my dad lives in Natchitoches, Louisiana, and that's where I went to college. And I mean, it's the oldest city in Louisiana. I mean, it's freaking beautiful. Cane River going right down the middle of the town. Steel Magnolias is filmed there. I mean, it's just a really quaint, cute. It's like a little tiny New Orleans. I mean, it's so pretty and so much history and so cool. But for the music, there's nothing. I mean, it's nothing. You got to drive to Shreveport or the Lafayette. I mean, that's an hour and a half north or 4 hours south, and there's nothing there. I mean, I got a band or two that I know locally there, but outside of that, I mean, if you're trying to go there for music, you're made the wrong decision, No,
100%.
So I think, I mean, Fort Worth. Like I said, my old lady lives up there right now because she's a student full time because she's from Sweden, so she's on a student visa. And that was her first place to come over here. She thought that she was big into Yellowstone when she was in Sweden, and she thought that Fort Worth, she thought that Texas, she thought that Yellowstone was filmed like that was in Texas. She found out when she got here, oh, it's Montana. Well, I think she made the right decision for everything else working out for us, and then her whole life. And but the music industry up there, just the stockyards, the other little showdowns, just like where all the guys bands hang out at. But it's what is it, Magnolia Motor Lounge? There's some good
there's tons of stuff up there.
Yeah, and they're bringing in big. I mean, not even say just big people, but like just good music. I mean, you just go in the stockyards, McNasty's, Rhinestone
Bob's.
Cafe. Like I'm walking down the street and there's like, oh, there's Dylan from Lowdown Drifters playing there, and there's just so many.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we went into like just a shop and ran into Miranda Lambert on a Sunday.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you're gonna get exposure up there a lot more than Houston.
Fort Worth is cool for sure. I don't know. So as a fan, let's play this game. As a fan, if you could give a band one piece of advice, what would it be from a super fan?
To any band, advice to be successful.
Whatever. One piece of advice from a super fan. What would that piece of advice be?
Get out there to the merch table.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. I mean, besides, I can't. Yeah. I mean, just how much does it take out of you after you finish your stuff to go out there and just
to make yourself available to your fans?
And you don't even have to even be fully. But the fact that because a lot of people go to shows, they want to hear the music, but they want to be able to see the person, even if it's 100 yards away, they're there in the same building as that person. Yeah. So it's just that feel. And then the show's over and then they're going home. Maybe they'll stop by the merch table if they want to, but you go out to the merch table and then, oh, there he is again. Like, I mean, that just going that extra step, and then, not only are you selling merch, but you're out there, people can hear how you talk outside of singing, kind of thing. It's something, that's what I would say, because you just, a lot of people want to go out there and support the band beyond that show. They want to get the merch, wear it. And, I think that's probably the biggest, which I feel like is not that hard. Theo Vaughn was had a little show. Hard. I didn't catch it, but I heard some buddies that were there that he was over there at the merch table after. I mean, he sold Ford Park out, sold it out, and he was up there at the merch table. Like, that's crazy. Now, I'm sure the line was insane and everything, but just getting out there, showing that, this means something to you. The fans mean something to you, Yeah. I mean, I know if you're an artist and you're up there, the whole thing is you writing the songs and singing the songs. I mean, that's ultimately what we want to hear. Because I can't always go to shows. I want to be able to put it on my car and listen to good music, But it's nice to be able to know that person cares about the fans, because we are kind of the reason, the way that you can play your music all you want at home and it'd be awesome, artist. But, if you want to get the following, if you want to get people want to have that experience, it just makes you real. We're fortunate we can go on social media and we can watch people's lives outside of their music and stuff, which that I think is probably also a big thing, which goes back into like, marketing and all that stuff. But just sometimes just like shooting the shit, doing a funny little reel or something, which, there's just a lot of different bands out there that are, like I said, Dexter and the Moon Rocks. They do a lot of funny reels and stuff. And that picks up a lot. They got a whole following of like, they call it's like just tattooed girls or something like that. Just I don't know why all tattooed girl. Like if you got a lot of tattoos and you're a good looking girl, you should go like Dexter and the Moon Rocks. And they might not even like. If you say country, they could be like, oh, gross, But Dexter and the Moon Rocks aren't even really country. They call them Western space grunge, and it's killer. And a lot of people they get from went and saw. I don't know if you know Sawyer Hill. Is it Sawyer Hill? He's not country at all by no means, but he opened for him. I was already listening to them before I went and saw him, but he just came along. I was just, how we would doom scrolling or whatever. And I came and I was like, oh my God, this guy kills. Yeah. And,
I hate fucking genres anyway. Like I hate genres because, I love it. I love it when people like, to me, good music is good music. And it doesn't matter if it's hip hop or if it's country or if it's pop or if it's rock or whatever it is.
Amen.
If it's got if it's got in-depth lyrics and it's got a good beat to it,
absolutely,
I'm gonna like it.
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm snowboarding and I'm going down, one time my headphones went out or something like that, and it was just weird because I just couldn't snowboard for shit. I was catching edges everywhere, and somehow I got my music back in, and I was just completely different, 180. I could just do things I couldn't even imagine I could do. But I'll be listening to Kings of Leon, Pink Floyd, Thrice, like just all sorts of just completely different types of bands, but it's all good music to me, you know? So yeah, I agree totally. I don't think people, so like Red Dirt, I know it's Texas country, I guess, but like I
don't even know. Whenever when I produce a song, when I write a song, I write it for me, and then when I produce it for me. I produce it the way I would want to hear it as a fan,
right?
And then I put it out. I don't ever think about it from the way the fan perceives it,
right,
or the way, or what genre it is, or this bullshit about you can't release a fucking slow song during the summer, you can't release an upbeat song during the winter, all this bullshit.
Oh, I never heard that, but that's
like I don't, dude, there's so many fucking things in this industry that they tell, like, people tell you what to do,
right?
And
don't
it's
listen to
like
that shit. Yeah,
and it's just like, dude, I just want to put out good music, and I want people to come out and hear me play. That's
right.
it. That's it. That's it. I'm not looking to make billions. I'm not looking for cars. I'm not looking for mansions. I'm not looking for any of that shit.
Well, that's how you're going to get the mansions in the cars. I think is having that.
But even if I had it, I wouldn't have it.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I wouldn't do that. I would, like, I could go, somebody give me $10 million tomorrow, and I would go buy 25 acres somewhere, and I would throw a fucking trailer house on it, or maybe build like a 2,000,
Kid Rocket,
like a 2,000 square foot house,
right?
And I would buy me a good tractor and a good side by side, and maybe some goats and a horse or some, some cows.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Like, that's what I would do. Right. I would not take any of that money and go buy a bunch of cars. I would drive my truck until the wheels fall off, and I'd buy a new one.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what I would do. I know me,
Yeah. I think, I mean, a lot of people probably that aren't from the South, too, that they just hear like a Southern drawl or something, they're going to automatically like, oh, that's country, or
right.
And then that's kind of how a lot of that gets wrapped into that. But
like Giovanni and the Hired Guns, that's just not country.
No, not at all.
It's not even close to country.
No, not, yeah.
But they're the same genre as I am.
Right.
Wetzel, that's not country.
Right. No,
but he's the same genre I am.
Right. But now Ko can sing a country song, and it's
for
country,
sure, for sure.
But you're right. No, most of it's rock. It's Southern rock, that's kind of.
I don't even think that's Southern rock. It's
right.
Like,
Southern's like Leonard Skinner or Government Mule or something.
I consider like Whiskey Myers Southern rock.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I guess Ko would be rock or.
And then what's Shane Smith the same? Prog country?
Well, I'd like almost more bluegrass or something, maybe. I
don't know.
Yeah.
It's very strange to like try to figure out how to put, because you go from Ko Wetzel to Josh Ward, and we're all the same thing. And
right.
Josh is like traditional honky tonk,
yes,
two-stepping country music.
Yep.
Ko's not that.
No.
I'm neither one of those things.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of, we got a honky tonk in Silsbee, and there's a lot of it's all like I saw Josh Ward years ago in Vider, and I loved it. It was definitely like a two-stepping kind of vibe, and there's not very many of those folks out there. Like I said, the Exact Top came in with it. I'm trying to think of the other guy that
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. There probably actually is. I don't.
Yeah, there's a lot you don't know. I mean, there's so basically. I mean, it's what happens is like what everything happens. Cody Johnson's popping off big time right now, and so there's a million people out there trying to do that style of country music.
Right.
You know what I mean? Same thing with Zach Bryan. How many Zach Bryan soundalikes are out there on fucking TikTok?
Oh, absolutely.
How many Oliver Anthony soundalikes popped up right after that? How many Tyler Childers soundalikes are out there? Almost every female on the planet before Lainey Wilson popped off was trying to be Miranda Lambert.
Right.
Now they're all trying to be Lainey Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all you got, like Megan Maroney, I think, whatever. She's, she's different.
I think she's got a killer voice.
Oh yeah,
dude.
No, she's great, but I don't think she sounds different than what most of the other girls Ella Langley, she's more rock and everything. But I feel like there needs to be that's kind of stuff is, in my opinion, is true country. But that I don't know what you have to. I guess you have to have a steel guitar or something or what. But that's rare in my opinion. I thought, like, I guess there's more that I'm not hearing. I just hear a lot more rock country.
I hear a lot of that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I also like Midnight River Choir. They're more eclectic, very different, than and that's what I like. Yeah, like I said, I like things that are very unique and different sounds, and not even just. I'd hope that all their whole album's not the same. I like to hear one song and the next song's different, and like,
that's one thing I'm very, very proud of myself for, is that my stuff's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, you got to throw some acoustic in there, and you got to do,
everything, every song that I release, sounds different. And we got Wasted Thing that's rock and roll, and you got Ride With Me that's like pop country, and then you got Back to Texas, which is fucking Texas country as you can get.
Oh yeah, it's got Texas in the name. Yeah.
And then you got Me Too that just pop, that's like acoustic singer-songwriter stuff. I really, really like Jordan Nix. I really like Tanner Usray. I really like John Moreland. I really like. You don't know John Moreland? Oh, I'm gonna turn you on to him.
Yeah, please do.
I really love John Moreland. I really love Shane Smith and the Saints. I really like Charles Wesley Godwin.
Yep. Yeah.
I really like Drayton Farley. I really like.
Yeah, he's. Oh my God! Yeah, that song he covered yesterday or whatever of Pink Floyd. Oh my! Oh my God!
Adam Hood, Jason Eady, Cody Canada. I'm a huge fan of all of these people.
Right.
Way more so than I'm a fan of like Cody Johnson or
Yeah.
Luke Combs or any of those people.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like, Jason Eady, his band, right? I don't know if it's right now. Is Midnight River Choir pretty much wherever he's going? Yeah.
That's cool.
So now, do you have the same, like, if you go on? I know a lot of gigs you go to, you're doing a solo, but now
I did. I don't. I've cut everybody loose.
Okay.
I don't have anybody anymore. I don't have a manager. I don't have a band. I don't have TM. I don't have anybody anymore. Everybody's gone.
How do you feel? Is that
yeah,
freeing?
I'm happy about it. It's when you have other dudes that you have to keep busy, that's very difficult. And so when you're, a lot of times you're putting them over your own family.
Yeah, sure.
Because you only have enough money to either pay them or buy groceries.
Right.
And so and you got to pay them first. You know what I mean?
Sure. I think it'd probably be beneficial though, on the flip side, that, having maybe those same guys that you do ride around with a lot and you spend a lot of time with, that you can really trust, sometimes can be really beneficial for yourself. They can tell 100%. You things that maybe, a fan wouldn't tell you, or someone, that's a record, an agent wouldn't tell you. They're going to lie to you. Your fan's going to lie to you or whatever. You need to hear, something that they're with you all the time. And so if you can find those right people, whether you want to share, the limelight but sometimes I think a lot of that can pick it up. Like, it's like back to Parker Ryan. Like, I was listening to his podcast. He was on with, Katie B and this, anyways, he was just talking about his whole thing about how he was a 3-piece and all that, and how it became that. And, if he has a fourth, he can definitely do a fourth. He'd like to have that, but then he's got to pay that extra person. And then also then your van's got to get bigger. Like, if you only have 3, you can fit into one car and go.
Dude, not only that, I mean, musicians in general, we're all left wing. We got into this because we didn't want to follow the rules. We got into this because we didn't want a normal job. We got this because we didn't want the structure. We didn't want all that shit. Mm-hmm. And to get 4 or 5 people to be able to show up to a bus call at the same fucking time, and then hit the road, and then try to find cool things to do on the road. And you always have the band member that never wants to do anything. He never has any money, or he just wants to sleep or whatever. And then you have the band member that just wants to do nothing but fuck bitches.
That's you
know what I mean? Like, it's trying to manage all of these different personalities. I think you should be ready. I think before you get to a full-time band like that, you've got to be in a position to have a full-time band like that. Unless you're lucky enough to do with like what Randy Rogers did, or like Shane Smith has all the same.
Yeah, to fall into that, but that's going to be natural, or that's going to be God-given. Like, otherwise, what you're doing, I think, is the right thing.
Yeah, and you got to play enough shows to keep everybody busy. And,
right.
And it's just, like I said earlier, you got live music venues that are shutting down left and right on top of it being so oversaturated. Like the secret of Texas got out. And so during COVID, man, you had so many bands, so many people move here to capitalize on what Texas had going on. And so you have so many bands trying to fit into only a finite number of venues.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, you'll have a band that pops off and they become on this level, so they start charging whatever their guarantee is.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not. But just because they popped off doesn't mean that they can guarantee that money. And so a lot of the venues are shutting down because of the band's guarantees that are way too fucking high.
Right.
I'm sorry, but if you can't sell at least 1,500 tickets, you're not worth $10,000.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But you got a lot of bands that that go out. I mean, I've opened up for multiple bands that I know got paid $7,500 or more, that 40, 50 people showed up to the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
And businesses can't do that. Like I understand that as a band, you're making your money and you're getting your nut, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also putting the venues out of business.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you got like Mike and the Moon Pies and all that, and but they're good music. It's good music. I mean, I don't know how the name change, how that became to be, but there was definitely some shows. I think it was like 4th of July in Beaumont, and there was like nobody there, you know. But I mean, I know they got paid, right? But I mean, the city just, I mean, I was taxpayer basically. That's why they were able to pay for it. But yeah,
I've played shows with people that like Jack Ingram. You would think that it would be
legend,
packed, and it wasn't. And so I think we're just in this like real weird position right now when it comes to the music industry. I think that it's very, very easy to put out music.
Right. Oh, extremely easy. Yeah.
I think it's too easy to put out music.
Yeah, probably so.
So you have a lot of noise, and then it's not really about the music. It's about the content. It's about.
Well, you got people like Tanner Usray. Like he's genuine and he puts stuff out. He goes and does some social media stuff, but you can tell, like, I mean, he's got the love for it. But I mean, like, I know his dad, and I went and picked him up and brought him to one of the shows a few months back, to a co-show. And then we were talking and all that, and then he won't play at certain venues or certain amounts unless there's like he has the ability to go. He can go pop up anywhere, anytime, but he's not really not say allowed to, but like it'll dampen the stick or his the stigma, I guess, or the stature of something. If he goes and plays a show that there's only so many people, or he's not getting paid enough for it, he's pushed away from doing something like that when he could totally just have fun and go do a show, but doesn't pay enough, so we're not going to do it.
Right.
You have to make this so much money, otherwise we're not doing it, which then kind of holds you like to a, kind of gives you that I'm not thinking of the word for it, but you're known to, that you're not going to play for something unless it's worth it. And because you know what your worth is. So if someone's going to pay you below your worth, then you're not going to do it. And when really, in some cases, there's a lot of people that are hungry for that and they want to go, but then the people, the agents or other stuff, the venues are getting in the middle of all of it. Because I know they got to make their money and everything, but
dude, not only that, you got these. It's just so much fuckery, and this is what it boils down to. Again, we go back. What's wrong with America in general? Not just the music industry, not social media, not Spotify. I'm talking about what's wrong with America in general is that everything has got to be about fucking money. It's got to be about how much money you make, how much you can grow. If you have a company, you got to constantly be making your shareholders more and more money. You got to be growing. Everything's got to be growing. Everything's got to be getting bigger. And it's all about money. So we've lost, us as Americans have lost the ability to be content with our everyday lives, that we're all searching for this fucking, this ivory tower that we're never going to get to.
Right. Yeah, I think, no, you're absolutely right. And I think that's very
Like,
unfortunate.
how about instead of taking all of your money that you save and going on a vacation, you just make your life so badass you don't need a vacation from it.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Like that's what that should be the goal. That should be what we're trying to do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to go on a vacation because my everyday life is cool.
Yeah.
I get to do cool shit.
Like I said, I work for the federal government, and I can go and work in any agency, any department in the whole country. And I've jumped around a lot just to get myself to where I'm at. But now I'm at a point that I'm willing to take a pay cut to live in a place that I really enjoy to live.
Right.
I've lived in some places that I open up my door and there's the canyon, there's the lake, there's the river. It's the most beautiful thing you could think of. I was only making $20 an hour or something, but I'm gonna go back. That's what I'm doing. That's my next step. I want to live somewhere where where people go to vacation. I want to live in a place that people are going on their vacation, but I'm gonna live there, know, and that's content for me. If I would take a pay cut, I don't care, because right now the money I make is great, but then I'm having to spend money to go away and go.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be fucking rad that instead of spending all your money on things and needless bullshit, whether it's Apple Watches or iPhones or
I'm more
new
about experiences.
cars,
I spend money on
instead of spending our money on that shit, we spend our money on making our everyday lives better.
Oh yeah, well
like, that's everything. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. The government has to tax more and more money to pay for more and more things to try to. It's like,
I can go way down that.
Like money is like on the top. Money's not even on my top 10 list of things that I want.
Right. Yeah, me neither now. Not long ago, but that was. And that's like for everybody. Like, money makes the world go around. You got to have money to be able to pay your bills and so forth. But beyond that, like.
But imagine if we would take the greed down a notch.
Oh my God.
Imagine that.
It would be.
Imagine if Spotify said, you know what, CEO, you don't have to make $100 million.
Well, I think that's what we're getting next year. I've heard things like, they're going to start even just your credit card companies now, that I think they're going to, Trump or so forth, people are going to get in there. They're going to try to cap it at like 10%. Like, we don't need 28 AP, or then that goes up to flex to 35, 40%. You're paying, it's insane, for what the greed and for things like that, and just
right, but because you got this whole fucking, that's the part that disgusts me about the Republican Party, to be honest with you, up until now.
Oh yeah, there's
prior to now, it was this capital. I'm a capitalist. I believe in the free market. I believe that, but I also believe that some checks and balances need to be having place, and greedy people suck, dude. Greedy people fucking suck. Absolutely. And we need to stop propping greedy people up.
Yeah. Republican politicians, Democrat politicians, they're all politicians. Anybody in those, like I said, I work for the federal government, but I'm blue collar. But the people that are white collar, you should, we can touch on it at some point. I'd love to, but the amount of waste in the federal government is insane.
Yeah. Oh, trust me,
it is.
I know.
It's absolutely insane. Like,
I've seen it.
A place I work, people go up and they sleep all day. And they're getting paid, and that's it. Like, but then after enough time, it's like, you go to work and it's easy, but like, man, do you have any drive? Do you have anything like that? Don't you feel kind of bad that this is taxpayers' money, and it's gotten like crazy out of hand? I'm very optimistic that things are going to change with that. That's why I'm also very particular on these different agencies that I'm applying to. I'm not going to go be a HVAC mechanic for the IRS or Department of Education, because I know that those things may end up going away. Which, on a good note, if IRS, good, they're talking about like not taxing overtime and stuff like that, or tips. That if you don't tax overtime, that's amazing. That would be huge. Because I can go down that whole rabbit hole of just taxes. I think taxation is theft to a degree. If you're going paying for your own goods, if it's something you want to go buy, if you're willing to go pay that's your choice. But to come take money right out of my paycheck, that I'm
right. That's why we should go. That's why we should go to a consumption tax.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Straight up consumption tax.
Social Security. They're making their investments for me. Like, let me make my investments. And so yeah, that's money and stuff in the government. The government's gotten way out of hand from what we started at. From what we started this country fighting over tea and stuff and taxation, and we,
but that's my point. Like, it's impossible now. Like, you cannot, like right now, and so my bitches and moans and complaints about the music industry are not just the music industry, it's America.
Right. Yes.
Because right now, let's say you get $50,000. Okay, you get $50,000 through inheritance or whatever. So you take that 50 grand, you go buy you a piece of property.
You're gonna get taxed. Then you're gonna get
you can't
taxed, yeah.
you can't afford to keep that property.
No, absolutely, no, you'll lose it. Yeah, you'll lose something that you bought and you own, and then you can't. That's property taxes. Yeah, don't. I mean, that's a whole.
So it's ludicrous, but it's that on every level.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and that's trust me, it irks me. You know, definitely.
I mean, I think if the everyday American would sit down and really look at how much they're being taxed overall, not just your income tax and not just, I mean, that's how they fuck us. The reason they got us real fucking good is because they take a little bit of here, little bit here, little bit here, little bit here. And they don't, next thing you don't realize you're losing 40-50% of your fucking income.
A lot of people I think are just, that's why I don't think people talk, a civil war, this, that. Civil war is not ever going to happen. It's just, people are just so comfortable in what, even if you're going to get to, I mean,
I think if Trump would have been shot, you would have seen some crazy shit go down.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, maybe, but I mean, like the George Floyd thing. I mean, I think it was billions or something, or millions of dollars were burnt down in those cities and all over the country over that one incident. And
but what's crazy about that one incident is most normal people that don't have hate in their heart saw that and agreed that was an egregious death. Most people saw that. You take away the scumbag that George Floyd was. Take away that
he was first person. Yeah. I mean, people. I've committed crimes before.
Take away all that shit.
Right.
Just do the facts of when they got him dying, the way he died, all that stuff. Right. I don't know very many people that didn't think that something needs to change because of that.
I mean, I've had probably more bad interactions with cops than I've had good. Now, but that doesn't mean I still support cops overall because, when you're in trouble, who are you going to call? You know, in the sense if you're not protecting yourself with a gun and all so forth, which I am, but otherwise that's who you look for. And
I just mean it's hard to have a civil war when most people agreed. We didn't agree with them protesting. We didn't agree with all that shit.
Right.
But most normal, sane fucking people that don't just hate black people.
Right. It's
saw that as like, that's murder.
Right. It's a complicated, I mean, the reason I even brought it up is I just watched this documentary about it yesterday, but it's, part of that stuff was in textbook about what they're supposed to do. But then again, I mean, it was like they took the 2 pages out that actually was in the training thing showing this is how you subdue a person.
Yeah, but the first thing that has to happen is de-escalation.
Absolutely,
that's the first thing that has to happen.
And just common respect to people. Just respect. Yes, absolutely. De-escalation is number one.
Yeah, but you know how many times I got pulled over by a fucking cop, and that cop had an attitude with me as soon as he got to my door.
Right,
and you're like.
Oh yeah, I watch First Amendment audits all the time. I get a kick out of them, and I still respect what they do. But it's the reason I watch a lot of those is it exposes the cops that aren't just.
A lot of that shit's fake now, though. So you don't even know what to believe. A lot of it's staged now. A lot of it's not even fucking real. A lot of stuff on TikTok.
I usually watch one particular guy, Yeah, but I mean, me as that works for the government, if somebody was to come up on the channel outside of our federal facility, they have the right to take pictures and they can do all they want. As long as they don't come into the fleet, they're fine. And I would never even, bother. I would never, I might go talk to them just to see, make sure, whatever. But outside that, hey, have a good day. Y'all need water, something like that. That's it. But a lot of people in positions of power, cops or agents or anybody, or like the postal service, if it's they're behind, they don't want to be filmed. It's like, hey, you came to work, like I'm being filmed right now. As soon as I walk in here, I can get a FOIA request and everybody can see everything that's going on. So, you just have to. It's just gotten to a point that people are just so. Think they, I don't know, just that they have the right to dictate what other person's doing when we all have phones. We're walking. I just got these glasses like a couple weeks ago, the Meta glasses. I can ask any question. I can take a picture. I can do a video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which I did it mostly even for concerts and stuff. But like if I go to the courthouse in Beaumont, you're not even allowed to bring your phone in there. Which I mean, now in a courtroom, that's. I understand that there's certain rules of that, but when you walk into any public place, I think you should be able to do your phone. Whatever they said, the reason they did it because people were listening to music too loud in the lobby and stuff. Well, put a sign up or go talk to those people when that
Tell 'em,
happens.
yeah.
Otherwise, you should be able to do that. Well, now I won't bring my phone in, but I got a camera right here.
Well, I know the other day, or not the other day, but last month when I was voting,
Oh yeah,
I was on my phone,
Yeah.
and the guy comes up because you can't be on your phone. And I said,
bullshit.
I said, well, what if I'm researching some of these candidates?
Yeah, or what if an emergency happens or whatever?
And he was like, oh, well, you should have the research before you come in here. No phones are allowed in here.
That's
And I'm like,
bullshit.
all right, brother. So I put my phone up.
Yeah, that's not America. That's not like that's your right, to freedom of press. We're all people want to. Oh, you need to work for a news company. No, we all are the press now. Obviously, from the George Floyd thing. I mean, certain things wouldn't have been out there if the public wasn't recording that stuff.
I'm so glad we're waking up to that. That's what I was gonna say earlier too about fuck. I just went blank. Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, they it's it's a whole nother thing just to getting into all that accountability.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. I got it. So like how we are the news, that's the same with the economy. I hate to break this to y'all, to people that have money in the stock market. The stock market is not our economy.
Right.
Like that's the shit that agitates me. That shit's fucking inflated numbers. I've been part of cooking the books for a major corporation to get the stockholders the most money they can fucking get every month. It's horse shit. The economy is me. The economy is you. The economy is how much money you have in your wallet right now to go out and fucking spend.
Right.
It's not how much money you can invest. It's not how much money you have in stocks. That's not what the economy is.
Right.
So whenever Biden or Harris was saying that the economy is the best it's ever been, yeah, when you look at it from the stock market, they were doing great. 100%. They were doing fantastic.
Right.
But the economy, the real economy, how much money you're spending at the grocery store, how much money, how valuable your dollar is, that's the economy. And right now our economy sucks balls.
Right.
Because your dollar has no power.
Well, I can give you like just a small example of just what happened. So back in 2008, we had the the housing market fail and all that stuff. So I graduated in 05, and my dad owned a mortgage company. I started working with him early on, but then I became a real estate appraiser for 3 years, from when I was 18 till I was 21. I made the most money I ever made in my life. But the whole point of my job for the longest time, during that whole time, you're supposed to, if you're going to appraise a house, your job is to go out there and just find the true value of this house, what a willing buyer is going to pay for the house. But you go out there, depending on every markets are different, but you usually just go out like a half a mile. You can only go back 6 months in sales, and you're just supposed to have a non-biased opinion of what's going on to figure out these certain houses sold. Then you take your meeting, you adjust everything, and then that's what the value is. Well, that only happened probably like 1 or 2% out of all the appraisals that I got. All the other ones, I got the address they sent to me to go do the appraisal, and I got a value that they wanted to reach. Because they want people, that was all people refinancing to get. And in some cases, it was kind of sad because I'd go out to this house and it had a Samoan family. I remember and they had like 8 people living in the house, good people, great people, but it was just so bad because they were like, every time I go around a corner, like, man, you're going to get this value for us? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to try. And I'll go back on the computer, I'm looking, I'm like, they want, $250 for the house to get appraised. And it's only like worth the most like $190, but I could. But see, I can make it happen.
And that in itself is fucked up because it's like you're trying to get your house appraised for as much as you can for the dollar amount you can be refinanced.
Yes.
The government's trying to appraise your house for as much as they can for their taxes.
All of them are benefiting except for the person that actually owns that home. Then once they go to resell it and then find out that it's not worth that, and then they're screwed.
Or when you go down and you fucking argue with your taxes, you want it to be lower than what it is.
Right.
Your house should be what your house is worth.
Yes.
Period. End of sentence. It should not be any monkeying with it.
Right.
Your house is, if it's $32 square foot or whatever the fucking square footage is for that neighborhood at that time, that's what your house is worth.
Yeah, and
that should be what you're taxed on. That should be what you refinance it for. That should be what you try to sell it for.
Well, taxed on, yeah, we should. Yeah, but yes, I agree. But that was very corrupt, and that was very much like this the norm, and it got way out of hand. Like it was.
Yeah, it's all crooked, dude. The roofing thing. I got offered a few roofing jobs, like to get into roofing, selling roofs and stuff. That the way they do the internet.
Well, it's all like insurance and stuff.
It's all just a big clusterfuck, dude.
Yeah,
all of it is because it's all about money. Everything's got to be about money. I got to make more money. I got to grow. I got to get bigger. I got to do more. Whatever happened to just being content as a person and being like, okay, I want to make $100,000 this year. and I'm going to see how my life is with that. And I did it. Cool. My life's good. I'm just going to stick with that. I want to make $100,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's like I got to make 100,000. So if I made 100,000 this year, I got to make 120 next year. And then I got to make 150 next year. And I got to make, and then all that does is drive the price of everything up. That's all it does.
Yeah, it's a bad outlook. You know, you need to be looking not for that much money, but more like the quality of your life.
Quality of your life, yeah.
Yeah, because I probably had better times in my life when I was struggling, than and
for sure. I mean, one of the best times in my life, I was living in a shitty apartment complex in Houston, Texas. I was paying like $500 a month rent.
Right.
It was a shithole.
But you have good friends that were probably around,
dude,
and
so
like
awesome.
That's unfortunate. I mean, we've gone. And it's such a big topic in the sense of but greed, politics, it's really gotten out of hand. And then the divisiveness and because I can go to a lot of different cities. I mean, I go to, and we're all friendly with each other. I don't care what color you are, even like what religion you are. I can be friends with all sorts of people. But then you look at the news and you look at all this other stuff, and it's like we're so much different. When it's like we're not.
We're not.
We all are still buying milk. We're all still buying gas. We're all still got jobs, even if you sell drugs or you do this, sometimes you may be buying the drugs, or you may be like now you got, big pharma and stuff. People are so demonized for these things that people are doing, when it's like these big wigs are doing it on a major scale, and then back
no problems. It's fucking crazy. We've jumped the shark. We've and that's okay. Hey, it takes something big to happen for change, and I think that's something big was the Democrat Party under Biden. I think that's
more
something.
Recent, yeah. Well, you got bad things to happen like 9/11 and stuff like that. Like sometimes it takes a wake up call for people, and I'm not wishing anything bad like that to happen, but
but we got to the point where we weren't even taking big things as wake up calls, like COVID. COVID should have been a huge wake up call for us. It wasn't. It was terrible. It was dumb.
It was insane.
It was stupid.
Insane.
And any of us that were out here fucking talking about how insane it is, we got ostracized by everybody.
Right. I mean, I was thankful. Like I said, I worked for I was safe to some degree because I'm not working for a company. I don't have a boss. My boss is y'all or the president or whatever. And but yeah, for 2 years I got paid for my whole 40-hour week, but I had to work 20 hours a week. So for 2 years, and I mean, I loved it. It was great for myself.
You.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for me personally. I mean,
but it sucks if you're like somebody like me who has to pay your fucking
restaurant owner or something. Oh man,
not only that, I have to like think about that. Not only am I told I can't work, I have to pay your salary of someone who's getting paid that's not working.
Insane. Yeah, I'm totally against it. Now, see, both my parents are both Army. My dad was both my parents are Army. Mom's retired from Army. She works at DEA now. My dad's retired, but he used to be a contractor. He was making big bucks overseas. But I'm a product of that. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if my parents weren't able to do what they did, but they were making money off of war, and it's, it was very unethical in my point, but they don't, how much control do they have over that besides just getting money to put on the table?
Yeah. Same with you. You don't have any control over it. You got it. Yeah. You're.
Well, I mean, now I at least have the option to choose kind of what, I'm looking into more like land management agencies. I want to work somewhere where like it's, I'm out there in the wild, working with the public and stuff. I don't want to be like where I'm at now. I don't ever run into the public unless they're coming into the fleet on accident. I had to shoo them off. But otherwise, like we have no accountability at all whatsoever. I mean, the amount of money we have this much money that we have to spend each year. If we don't spend it, then we get less the next year. So we have to keep spending that. Yeah. And it's the most.
It's fucked up.
It's bad.
It's so fucked up. I mean, everything's fucked up about the government. I remember when I joined the Army 3 months after 9/11.
I don't remember if I knew that. Okay.
Well, it didn't.
Appreciate your service. So.
No, I didn't serve. So I joined the Army 3 months after 9/11. About the week I was supposed to ship out, I was working out with my recruiter, and I sprained my ankle really bad. So they made me change my MOS. Whatever, and I ended up shipping off to Fort Sill like 3 months later, but my ankle still wasn't healed. So when I got there, the ankle broke, and so they sent me home. So I never served. I just went to basic at Fort Sill.
Yeah, but you started the process.
Yeah, but I don't look at.
No, I understand what you said. Yeah.
So But man, I remember even back then, like I was in out processing, and there was like 75 people in out processing for me, and I was just talking to those people and like hearing just the whole corrupt process that recruiting was at the time. Baby, basically just forced fed everybody. They would. I mean, I actually had a recruiter tell me to lie on my application. He's like, if you put yes on that, it was about a broken bone or something. Mm-hmm. He's like, if you put yes on that, you had to get a waiver. It's so much blah, 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 blah. So just put no. So out of the 76 people that were in there out processing, there was like 3 of us that were for legit reasons, like legit injuries. Mm-hmm. Everybody else was either because something was fucked up with their recruitment, meaning they were on a heart medication or something and that never got put through. And so they got there and then they found out, stuff like that. Right. Or Section 8s or homosexuals or whatever it is. There was only 3 of us that had like legit injuries. Mm-hmm. And then it took like 2 weeks to out process, and they're paying us the whole time. So they're paying all of now those 76 people were just who went into out processing that day with me. Every day there's that many people going in out processing.
Right.
And I'm like looking around and there's like, I don't know, 500-600 soldiers in this whole big out processing thing. And they're paying, all of us are getting paid, and like we're not doing shit. We're laying around the barracks. And it's like and I think of that from a taxpayer, a lot of that could have been avoided had they either A, not let that person join in the first place because they weren't capable of serving, or B, why does the out processing process have to take 2 weeks?
That's good once enough for government work.
Yeah, once you say, hey, you're injured, you got to go home. Here's your, like, why does it take 2 weeks? It should take a day.
Yeah. No, I mean, like right now we got 2 open spots as small craft operators, and they've been open for a year, and they can go and list them and put them on. They're just, HR just been taking forever. And because there's short on that, now I have, which is good for me, I get plenty of overtime opportunities. But then like those 2 other jobs I just got referred on today, one of them closed yesterday, one closed last week. And I just got an email today that I'm both referred on both of them. Those agencies, they're motivated, their HR or whatever's going on. They're doing the right thing. They're not wasting time and money. And the agency I'm with, we were ran by Pete Buttigieg, and it's a mess.
Yeah, it all is. I mean, my ex-wife worked for the VA. She got recruited right out of the VA, right out of nursing school, and she worked for the VA for like the first 7 or 8 years. And I mean, every day it was a different complaint about somebody there not doing their job, just goofing off. They wouldn't fire anybody, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's cush jobs if you can get in there.
Absolutely. I mean, I had an ex of mine that she was a nurse, and then I told her about, like, I work for the government. I'm like, hey, we should get in the VA. And she's, pretty little Pentecostal girl, whatever it is. And she thought she would not get a job in the VA because she was white. And I was like, that's not how it works. The government's like, you can't discriminate and so forth. And I ended up, doing a resume for it, all that stuff. And then both jobs she put in for, she got offers to both of them. And it was just about, I guess the mind state, or like the,
well,
that's the flip side of things, but there's,
I'm not really not being racist or anything here, because I'm definitely not that, but it's like, you can get the job if you're white, but how many people stay there? Because the incompetence and the laziness that's like ingrained in those walls.
Oh, it's bad.
It's so bad. And so if you're a type of person that has other opportunities, you're gonna chase if you have ambition, you're gonna change. Mm-hmm. It takes a very fucking non-ambitious person to just sit there and take money.
Yeah, well, it's
You know what I mean?
I mean, I'll say too. I mean, I don't say I'm racist. I'm not racist, but I think that there's still, like, I think it's good to, like, joke about other people, joke like,
100%.
Good, like, because once we get away from that, then we're not like confronting certain things, or not even just like, it's just, we need to be accountable for each other, but just make light of stuff, because we're all American, and so we all share that together, but
and that's what we need to start all work. We need to start all acting like fucking Americans.
Yes.
Like Americans first. We're Americans first.
Yes.
Before we're a redneck, before we're a fucking chef, before we're a military person, before we're gay, before any other thing that identifies us, we need to start approaching everything as we're Americans first. And we need to start holding Americans accountable.
Yes. And there's nothing wrong with that. People that are super American or, think that they have a problem with doing that. Like, it's like they're like, you're not as American if you're not supporting this. This guy's not doing his job. Or this guy's 100%. A piece of shit. Like, he's a piece of shit, And so,
if you're a CEO of a company and you're fucking over everyone that works for you and everyone that works under you,
un-American.
That's un-American, and you should be ousted and put American in that spot.
Yes.
That's what should happen. That's the way it should work.
Right.
But
I mean, it's funny. like I said, I'm very conservative. But I have a few different liberal, things I agree on, like certain victimless crime and stuff. But I mean, I'm 37 years old. But even like last year, I watched a movie called Nefarious. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it's produced by like Angel something Productions. Those people that did Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
And but I changed my viewpoint on capital punishment like a year ago. Like at 36 years old, I've always thought, if you did something horrible and heinous, kill him, get him out of here, but after watching that movie, because I mean, I'm against abortion, I'm against euthanasia and things, but always, like I said, I was all for death penalty, but now it's like you have to be open-minded, to be.
So you're against.
I'm against the death penalty now.
You're against assisted suicide.
Yes, I mean yes. Now we can talk further into that, but. Yeah, but for the death penalty in particular, it just for the longest time, it just made sense to not, to get rid of bad people. But reality is, for me as a religious person, I don't feel like it's our job to be that last judgment to make that judgment to kill somebody. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for, cruel and unusual, 8th Amendment. I'm for cruel and unusual punishment. If you did something cruel and unusual, I feel like you deserve to have cruel and unusual things done to you, if it's whatever it may be. Now, I don't believe that, I'm not trying to put more people in prison. I used to be a correction officer. I don't think it's a good thing just to be putting a bunch of people in. I mean, because we're paying for it, so,
Agreed.
But we need to hold people accountable. But the death penalty thing, I was just like, I kind of had to wrap my, because if you're out there and your job is to go do the injection or pull the switch, you're paid in the government. Like they're kind of like, to be a killer, and like, if you believe in God and you believe in Jesus Christ, it's not our job to make that, now you should still keep those people from hurting other people, if it's putting them on an island, if it's putting them in a prison that they're actually like making things and like contributing back to the community, that's the best thing. Like road work crews, that's great. That's really what people are going to grow, is through work, through sweat, through struggle. But yeah, that particular thing, on capital punishment, I was like, it just was crazy to me to be at my age and be as conservative as I am, to be like, no, I think that's wrong. I think that, I think we should back off of that. And because I used to think like, oh yeah, we should, Sunday night football, we should have this halftime, we should have the hanging, people getting hung, and right. So then it'd be a deterrent of violence. If you do something wrong, this could be you. Now, not saying that there couldn't be still something like that, but killing people, that's like, we're one of the only countries that are like, that's not a third world country that still has a death penalty, and that's
I'm the opposite. I'm fry 'em.
Right.
But the only reason I'm that way, so I did my senior thesis on the death penalty.
Okay.
And I was anti-death penalty before I did it, and then afterwards I became pro-death penalty. And I have some issues with that whole thing. I think that the average person, at that time, this is 97, the average person sat on death row for 13 years.
Oh yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
like,
so it's like, okay, you've already decided you're going to kill this person, and it's all the appeals process and blah 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 blah. The way I look at it is, if it's a slam dunk case, right? Meaning,
you got innocent people. There's very small that are falsely, whatever.
But it does happen.
It does. That's
and it happened a lot.
And if that happens, that's really fucked.
And it happened a lot in the 60s, 70s, early 80s.
But now we got DNA, we got video. Right. I mean, it's like you're saying, if it happened and it's somebody killed a whole family.
Like I'm going to give you a prime example. My a really good friend of mine in 2019, she was a sergeant at the Nassau Bay Sheriff's Department, or Nassau Bay City, whatever it is. She's a female cop, obviously. She pulled over a guy she just pulled over a guy, ran his plates. The guy that ended up having a warrant for aggravated assault or something like that. She ended up trying to detain him. They got in a fight. She got one handcuff on him. He fought her off. He pushed her down, got in his truck, ran over and killed her. This is all on video. It's slam dunk. It's not even there's not even a question on whether he did it or not.
Right.
That was in 2019. It's 2024. That guy still has not been sentenced. To me, that guy should immediately, like, in the next 3 weeks, should be strung up.
Well, in a lot of cases, and then if they are convicted, they'll get a lifetime, 100 years of whatever of jail time, plus another 20 years, plus another this for this other charge. It's like, we don't live for 150 years. Why are you? That's
just say life in prison.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
with no parole, just life in prison, no parole. You know, but I understand what you're saying. This happened to her. This is horrible. This person did something, the worst you could do, and they deserve, like, in our humanly brains can only understand, like, that's vengeance, like that's retribution, like that's his right for them to be punished for that, you know. But the only way, the pushback I would give to that is that, have you ever committed a crime, you know, that you knew was wrong? It maybe hurt somebody, maybe it was to whatever degree, but people do, not to say people change, but people can have remorse later on. Not to say the remorse is gonna change anything, but
yeah, but when you're taking away somebody's mom and somebody's daughter and somebody's sister and somebody's cousin and somebody's aunt,
yep.
Somebody that was a good, productive human being, that was a good cop, that was loved in the community, that did so much free stuff. She taught free self-defense classes to women, all kinds of stuff. She was a phenomenal human being.
Right.
And to take her away because you're some fucking piece of shit gangster fuck.
Absolutely. No, those people, if you never have any remorse or anything out of you, then, like, if there's no change in the sense, then yeah, what else really is there to do besides?
I don't give a fuck about your remorse anyway.
Right.
Like you made the decision to take a human life.
Right.
Now,
what if that person comes out though back? They do change a whole 180. They're able to, like, come back and contribute to the community, contribute to that family. Like,
too fucking bad. You took away someone's life who was already doing that didn't need all this to do that.
Right. No, and
that's the way I look at it.
No,
but I also believe that you should be able to get an abortion for the first trimester if you want one. That's just my belief. Not because I think it's right. I don't think it's right.
Right.
Because I'm a practical person, and I think that's the best way to do it. The most real best way to do it, where it's common sense and it's going to keep people from sticking coat hangers up their fucking cooter.
I think in, like, litigation, or like in actually, like, I mean, I'm against it in every aspect. For me personally, like,
me too.
Well, I mean. But if I was to try to meet somewhere in the middle, just so it happens less, as less babies killed, then yeah, I'd bend with that, just because, even though I knew it was still wrong, I can't choose what someone's going to do, but I do understand that. And have compassion for it. But it's gotten out of hand that it's out of convenience now, that it's used as birth control, you know.
100%.
And, you know, a lot of people will say, like, well, how could you, if someone's raped, you know, like that, how could you have a baby that's going to be from that rapist? You're always going to remember that rapist. Well, the reality, in my opinion, for that, you know, is that baby never, that baby is innocent. You know, that baby, it's an innocent life. And I mean, in every way, I think every life is kind of we're all miracles.
No, I agree. I'm not religious, but I agree 100%. I'm not for it. I would not condone it. I don't know, if my 14-year-old kid came to me right now and said that, hey, Dad, I got this girl pregnant, I might think about it.
Right.
But
there's things that change. Yeah, but I mean, I look back. I mean, I used to go to Planned Parenthood when I was in high school all the time, you know, for free condoms and all this other stuff. And I mean, yeah, of course.
But see, that's whenever it agitates me, is like when the Republicans are like trying to do away with the fucking Plan B pill and shit. Come on, man. Like, there's got to be some sort of it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
We've gotten to that point that there have to be that open door, like you're saying, or like the ability to have the Plan B. But if we went back years and years, like now today, like I said, the divorce rate, the amount of fathers that don't stay with that, it's a cultural thing.
100%.
And like now, I mean, I didn't wait for marriage to have sex. I mean, you know, but I mean, if I could go back and have done that, not say I can change it, like that would have been, but would I want my kids to be able to, you know, to make that, just to be a smarter person, to withhold, I guess to have a little more self-discipline. And I mean, it's hard. I mean,
we all want that for our best, but where I have the problem with it is when we start forcing our beliefs on other people. And that's why I'm like, okay, just for the abortion thing, for example, I can see both sides. Now, I can't see the going out and fucking 3 different dudes this weekend getting and then having your 14th abortion. I don't understand that side, but I can understand the arguments on both sides.
Well, like you say, like forcing your opinion on other folks, and I can understand, that concept. But now, just basic things like murder. Like me and you both agree that murder. I mean, unless it's like self-defense or something, but murder's wrong.
But there's always a caveat.
Well, sure, yeah.
So there should be a caveat to this as well. Like there's a caveat of self-defense. There's a caveat of war. There's definitely,
well, like stealing. Some people say like stealing's wrong, but what if you're stealing diapers for your baby and stuff? Like, what if you have no money and you're doing that? Like,
right. There's always some sort of a caveat to everything.
Sure, but it's still overall. Yeah, I agree on that. But I feel like we've gotten so used to, and like I said, I know you're not religious, but that whole the aspect of sin, like we're all sinners, we're all gonna do it. That's a deep.
My issue is anytime you put laws on things and you make stuff illegal, what you do is you create a black market for it. It's period.
I'm for prostitution. I feel like it's like if two people are willing to, a transaction.
And so if you outlaw abortion, if you just outlaw it, where you cannot get an abortion, period, end of sentence, it's now illegal. If you do that, people are still going to do them. They're still going to get them.
True, but they'll be less.
Yeah, but you're going to create so many unsafe situations that could be avoided. That's why my thing is, if Jeff Canada was president of the United States, I would say, listen, if the baby can stay alive outside of its mom's womb,
then
you can't kill it, no matter what. Rape, incest, no matter what it is, unless the mom is
about to
die.
Yeah, of course. That's not abortion. That's
Then you can't do it. But if it's before that 22-week period or whatever that week is, I think it's 22 weeks. If it's 20 weeks or whatever that is, again, not that I think it's right, but just to say, we have to fucking compromise. We have to solve issues.
And I agree. I've learned to kind of cope with it because what you said there too, like even though I have my beliefs and I do feel like majority of them are the right thing, but that's my belief,
Right.
And we're in America and people should have the ability to do what they want to do as long as it's not, within the, reality of like, just
to a certain
common
extent.
sense. I don't think you should be able to, like if you have grown kids that are out of the womb and then treat your kids like slaves and so forth, that's wrong, and
100%.
But so yeah, I hear you on that. I don't think it's hard. That's a hard thing to grapple with because.
But that should be the only one that's hard. This is my problem with fucking government in general. That should be the only fucking thing that's hard. Abortion topic should be the only thing we should be arguing about.
So you brought up, well, I kind of brought it up, but you went back and asked me euthanasia. Well, what's your feel on that one?
I think that making suicide illegal is one of the dumbest fucking laws on the planet. That if somebody wants to kill themselves, they should be able to kill themselves. That's what I think. Period. End of sentence. I think any time you're ready to fucking give up, you should be able to give up.
Well, in reality, you can.
I mean,
because if you're not going to get charged for it. You're dead. You're dead.
And that's assisted or unassisted. At least assisted. You can say your goodbyes. Somebody doesn't have to find your fucking body.
Right. No, I understand. There's a guy, Tyler Oliveira. He's a big YouTuber guy, and he goes around. He's a very neutral kind of guy, and goes around and talks about all different topics and different areas. Really cool. Go to Skid Row. He'll go to Colombia. He'll go to expose the whole Coca-Cola stuff in these countries that Coca-Cola just took it. Everyone's got diabetes, all because of Coca-Cola. But he went over in Canada, I think one of his about a month ago, all about euthanasia, and unfortunately it's gotten to a point that it's the doctors now because it's money. It's all healthcare. That's why abortion is healthcare. Euthanasia is healthcare, but the whole healthcare is not killing. I mean, healthcare is the care. So, but
later, if you're dumb enough to fall for that and get talked into it,
so that's okay. So that's where I would agree in the set. Like, I mean, it's unfortunate, but there's people that are going to take advantage of these people that maybe don't know what's best for themselves. They'll be just homeless people that just don't have a good life, and they're saying, hey,
check the fuck out,
right?
Then.
And overall, I mean, it's hard to there's so many people in this country. Everybody has their own life. Honestly, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. I just say I get a bad feeling from someone that works for the government or a person from somewhat of a power. If that was my job, was to go out and get numbers and get people helping people, when reality is I see the other side of helping, and like instead of saying, hey, this is the easy way out. Hey, how about like, can we help you? Can we get you into some type of like how they do for like homeless vets or something? Can we put you in a little tiny house or something? Can we do something besides the delete button? Like there's something that's also like back to abortion. Like there's way more people out there that are wanting to adopt a baby than there is that are being the amount of abortions that are done. There's always people that want a baby, and so. And then if the government allowed, I mean, it's like organ donations and stuff. Like I'm on my license, it shows I'm an organ donor, but as soon as I can next time, I'm gonna take it off, because the people that are benefiting from that is the government, like the hospitals. Like it's not you can't even, if I want to sell my own organs, like without going through it's illegal. Like, so why can't I profit off my own, but they can profit off of it?
Yeah.
And then, going forward, they tear your body up and all that other stuff. But like,
I'm donating my whole body to science.
You are?
The
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah. And I think if that's what you want, like if that's something that you're fully aware of what happens and and that's you're right. Absolutely. I just don't like the corruption of what goes on. And you're trying to,
after I fucking die, I don't care what you do.
Right. Yeah. And if it's helping somebody, giving somebody his heart or something, I think that's a great thing.
I want to be one of those bodies in Body Worlds.
Wow, is that a movie?
No, Body Worlds is that thing that they do at the museums where it's like the cut open bodies and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay.
Big O. When I say big O, I mean little O. Dick hanging out for everybody to see for the rest of eternity.
Right. That's
But what's cool about all of this is if you take two normal fucking people, you can have a conversation.
Absolutely.
I think we can disagree about the death penalty. We could disagree about abortion. We could disagree about euthanasia. But I don't look at you like you're some fucking piece of shit,
right. And
because you're because you're pro-life.
Likewise, same thing. It's unfortunate. The problem is the people in power think that they can make these things, which there's certain things like I said, this is the basic stuff. Like, I don't think you should be able to go murder somebody. Some people, there's Satanists, there's people that are like, that do believe that like, hey, we're like, or I'm not trying to put it like but that we are just all just, bodies. We're just walking around. There's nothing afterlife. Nothing matters. Nothing matters here. So what does it matter if you go kill somebody, do whatever? But that's wrong. You're taking them from somebody's family.
Right. And those people should be fucking taken off the streets and killed.
And there's a lot of
by the death penalty.
Yes.
See how this works?
Well, I would say, I would like them to contribute. I'd like to get something back out of them instead of just saying, okay, you're done. I like to, like I said, put them into and not to say, some people just say, oh, send them all to an island, let them all fight off. I think that's giving them too much. I think, putting them into somewhere like that, they're going to contribute. So if it's making license plates, if it's doing anything, something to contribute something back to the.
I think what you should do, if you're caught doing a crime, right? Something that would be a felony, right? A felony or greater. I think they should have open door prisons in like North Dakota, South Dakota.
I'm good for that. Yeah.
And basically,
And
cold, basically what they do is they just drop you off, and you have to fucking survive there.
Yeah.
You're not in a prison, but you have to survive there until your term's up.
Yeah, but you have to still make sure that there's not gangs that are
right. Because way when you get out of there, you realize how hard it can be.
Right. No, I'm all for that. That would be my alternative then, like the death. Like if it's gonna happen naturally in its own sense and they're gonna get killed, then that's on its own. Like if I walk in, I don't have any kids, but like I said, hypothetically, I walk in and my daughter's getting raped, and I'm seeing red, I kill that person. I think in all of that sense, that's justified. Yeah, like, I mean, in my 100%. Opinion, that's spur of the moment. And even as a religious person, it's wrong, but I mean, but you're in the moment of the time, you can't, we're all sinners. Like, that's the whole part of being a Christian, is that we're all imperfect. We're all going to still do wrong things, but it's ultimately at the end, you have, not count, but you know the difference between right and wrong. But now if you go walk in and you see it and you stop it from happening and it's done, and then a couple days later, it bowls up on you and you get that hate and then you go out and kill that person. At that point, it's premeditated. It's
not if they kill my fucking daughter. I don't.
Well, okay. So
or rape my daughter.
Okay, yeah, kill
doesn't
or rape.
Matter. You hurt my kids. You're
right. So that's a good question I'd ask you. Like, so what? So obviously you understand that. Well, you agree with me on the sense if you walked in that happened, killing that person, you think that's good, right?
Yeah,
I'm for that as well. But now, like I said, you wait days on after. You don't think that I feel like it should. I don't know. I feel like
I think if you know for a fact that person did it, and there's no doubt, like you saw it happening or whatever, 100%. I think I
wouldn't put it past you if you did it, in the sense, even if it was days later. I mean, I would think, why didn't you do it right away? Versus like, because maybe you wanted to clean it up.
I would want to fucking scheme.
Right.
Bro.
Yeah. But now, okay, so yeah, rape. You're seeing it happen. You know that she didn't want it. Wasn't consensual. Now, what if you come in and you walk in and a dude shoots your brother or whatever it is, and that's all you see. You just shoots your brother, and you shoot and kill that guy. Okay, because he killed your brother. So Hatfields and McCoys kind of thing. But what if he was shooting him because he just, I don't know, did something heinous to him? What if, what if your brother was actually raping this guy's little sister or something like that? And you just came in and you didn't know that. But now if you're off the bat, you feel like you did the right thing because you killed your brother, but little to know your brother did something. And then, so that's why I do believe in the justice system, like of what it should be. I have no faith in it now. The justice system is fucked.
Yeah.
But what it's supposed to be, it's there. That's why I think that if you go in there and kill that guy that's raping your daughter, that's good. But if you wait days on after that, now I'm not saying that the guy that did the rape, he should definitely he should be getting raped in a prison every single day. But is it at your point now? Is it your duty now? I feel like more it's part of the state or the community, not really so much you. But that's a deep.
I honestly don't think I could take somebody else's life no matter what the situation was.
Not even self-defense?
Man, I probably. I guess it would just depend on what the whole situation was. It's just, man, I find human life to be very beautiful, and I find it to be, So when I say all this bullshit, man, I don't want anybody to die, dude. I don't want anybody to die. I don't want anybody to. I don't want any babies getting killed. I don't want any of that happening, but I have to approach the world in a practical matter. I think that's part of the problem, is that we have these ideologies, whether it be the far right or the far left, whether it be the ultra Christian that want to,
or a white nationalist. Yeah, you have far right that are.
But I'm talking about like the Christians that want to like.
Oh, okay, got
like
pushing their
like
beliefs.
The Crusades and shit, where you went out and tried
to kill them all, let God sort them out.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough, man. That's a tough situation, but I don't want anybody to die. I don't want anybody to hurt.
That's the same. Yeah, I'm the same way, and that's why on the death penalty, I'm not trying to have compassion for murderers or rapists or anything, but I just know that from a religious stance, I mean, people make, obviously that's a bigger mistake than others, but like, I think anybody has the opportunity and the ability to change. And not to say that you're going to be able to make up for that, what happened. Whatever happened has happened. There's no coming back from that.
I think the family members should decide.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think the family members should decide, but I think they should also have to.
Yeah. I think
be required to actually push the button.
If it's legal, if the death penalty is legal and it's going to happen away, that's the way it should be.
I think they should have to push the button too. And if they can't do that, then that person shouldn't die.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I saw a video of some guy, whatever it was, did some horrible thing, and all these people, he's up in the stand and had all the witness impact statements go up, and everybody's going up there and just demonize this guy did something horrible, and they're going up there, and it's so easy to say, fuck you. I hope you burn in hell. I hope when you go to jail, you get raped, and all that stuff is emotion, and it's all natural. Right. And it makes total sense. Yeah. But the very last guy that got up was an older gentleman. I think he was like the father of the person that was killed or something. And he went up there and he's like, I could go up there and say all these things that all these folks just said. But he said, you know what? I'm praying for you. I don't want you to hurt. What you did was horrible. It ruined my whole life. But just because I want you to do better. I want, if it could be one criminal than the other, I don't want people to think that deterrence, if you do something wrong, you're going to be punished for it. But also, if you do make a mistake, it doesn't mean necessarily, when I say mistake, I mean, obviously murder's not a mistake, but or rape's not a mistake, but that, that you can maybe redeem it somehow, that it's not, because that person may have been growing up in a household that they were sodomized by their uncle for day in, day out. I mean, if that happened to me, I wouldn't want to live, and I probably have a very twisted mind that I would think that that's okay or something or whatever.
Well, all of that stuff. I mean, everything you got to take into consideration their backgrounds and stuff.
But that doesn't make it okay though either.
No,
you know, just because you are, you know, or if you're.
But like I know a guy like JD Graham. You know who JD Graham is?
I don't think so,
dude. I got to turn you on his stuff too. He's so fucking good. Him and I become.
Let me spit my Zen out. Do I got?
Just grab that water bottle. We're about to get out of here. JD Graham is a musician. He's a songwriter, dude, and he's fantastic. And he killed somebody. It was an involuntary manslaughter. He was a drug addict. He was high, whatever. He ended up taking somebody's life, so he ended up doing 6 years in prison. And while he was in there, he started a music program, and he, you know, got out, and now he basically tours over playing listing rooms and telling his story.
What's his name?
JD Graham.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I follow him. Him and his daughter.
He's fantastic.
Yes, he's
now,
great.
Now
yes.
imagine
I just found out a few months ago.
Now imagine if we took that guy when he did that and just
right. Yeah, and that's
deleted him.
Right. What did he do?
He killed a guy, involuntary manslaughter, while he was driving.
Oh, okay.
Under the influence, killed somebody.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect kind of that's a perfect example for, not say the death penalty, but kind of in some sense, it's like, you know, if you're doing something, if you drink enough and you get behind the wheel, you know that's a possibility. But then again, are you a killer? Are you a person that, you know, do you have hate in your heart that you need to kill somebody? In a lot of cases, probably not, you know, but at the end of the day, what happened? You still took somebody's loved ones, you know, off this. But now what good is going to come out of taking that person off? If you're going to weigh it off, like that person, you get them out, you delete them, and they're gone. You know, that's the solution. They're not going to ever drink and drive again. They're not going to ever kill any other family members. Done. That's for sure. But now, what if you can take this person and force this person, give them the opportunity, whatever it is, to do something good, even though it may not ever, it's obviously never going to bring that person back, but maybe we can put more good into the earth, in the world, through something bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you could trust the judicial system and you could trust the government to do the right thing, then I'm down for all of this shit.
Right.
The problem is like you said, it's just it's boggled down with fucking horse shit, left and right. It's inefficient. Just look at the post office. Look at any government. Anything they do, it's terrible. The government does not do anything good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm all small government. Like I said, I've been each place that I've worked for. I got my eyes open. I'm looking. I mean, we got a guy that put all new windows in his house. Had government employees come out there and install them. He got caught. He had to take all the windows out. He resigned before he got caught. I mean, I worked at an agency that people use their gas card. They drive the government vehicle back to their home. They live like 2 hours away, and they could do it because they drove the government vehicle home, pulled it in the garage, and closed the garage because they're not allowed to do that. And they're using the government gas card for everything, you know. And it just I mean, every single place I've been to, and it's been like just a flagrant abuse of our taxpayers. And if it was any private company, that would never happen.
Yeah.
It's just not going to fly. You know, they get you one time, you're gone, you're done. You know.
Yeah, because that company has to pass a fucking audit.
Yes, exactly. And the government, we don't have audits like we do, but we don't.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to burn too much of my agency I work for right now, but I mean, I'm on my way out. But it's gotten there's just so much abuse of, you know, financial stuff to. We got an example, like we get hazard pay, you know, so I make dollar amount I make per hour, but I make also $2.50 an hour extra, but that's only for people that are, you know, exposed to hazards, you know, to asbestos and so forth. So anybody that boards a ship for more than an hour or goes out on a patrol boat, they're going to get that hazard pay. As long as you get it for 1 hour, you get it for your whole shift. Okay, cool. But we got people up in our office, and it's all going on right now. It's a big deal, but they've been charging EDP hazard pay for themselves the whole time they're in the office. You know, and you're not allowed to do that. That's directly stealing from the government. Like, it's just abuse of and they just, you know, and it's very, it's hurt. It's hard as a person that's
it all happens.
In it. Yeah.
I mean, just look at this. I mean, we'll get out of here in a second, but just look at Harris. Look at fucking Harris. Yeah. $1.4 billion is what she fucking spent on her campaign.
Is that right? Yeah.
$1.4 billion. That's just the campaign. $1.4 billion.
A lot of that money probably came from, you know, dumbasses. That,
It doesn't matter where it came from, but imagine what
you
could do with that 1.4 million.
That's why it's just so hypocritical. You know, like they're over here to, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna be the president, I'm gonna make all these changes, I'm gonna do all this stuff. You've been in office for 4 years. Why didn't you do it before now? But now that money that you just spent on your campaign, you could have ended world hunger or something. It's like if you just spent that on you could have just took all the money you did for your campaign, solve world hunger. That'll win you right there. You just won by doing that. But they don't care. They want to get commercials and
you could have took that 1.4 billion, put it all in the bank, and just the interest alone, put that back out to the American people somehow.
That's all. That's yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, that's why. I mean, like so. I don't want to ask you who you voted for at that, but like, but how do you feel about Trump coming back in the sense, or I mean,
dude, listen, I'm an open book about that stuff. I mean, I've talked about that openly. I voted for my first election of me being 18 was in 20. Let's see, I graduated in 1998.
Okay, so you're 7 years older than me.
So I graduated in 97. I'm sorry. So 2020 was Trump. No, 2020 was Biden. 2016 was Trump
and Hillary.
So 2012 was
Obama
and Romney, right?
I didn't vote till 2016. I mean, I could have voted before, but I never voted.
Yeah, so 2012 was my first time to vote. I voted for Obama.
Right. Yeah, and I probably at that time, if I did vote at that time with what I've known and everything, I probably would have done the same. I mean, I didn't get involved until 2016. And even when 2016 came around and Trump was up there and everything, I was actually John Kasich. I was all for him. And then, a couple months more went by, and then Trump, and I saw all this push and grain against Trump, and I was like, why is this stuff happening? And I realized, he's not from the inside. Like all these people are just career politicians, and this guy,
No, I voted for Obama both times. Okay, yeah, I voted for Obama both times.
So 08 and 12.
Yeah, 08 and 12. But at that time, I was so anti the Republican Party for the whole Iraq thing. Like that whole, not just the Iraq thing, the housing market thing, all of it. Operation like George W. fucking Bush was
I think,
one of the worst presidents.
I still think 9/11's an inside job.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I think not fully. I think still terrorists still hit him.
I think they knew it was coming.
I think if they got some money put in their account by someone.
I agree, 100%.
I mean, but Iraq War too. Like I said, both my parents, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for those wars. But would I change it? Would I take it all back and say, I'd have to struggle? And of course, I want the country to do better than, like, even right now. If I lost my job, if Trump comes in and I lose my job because it's going to better the country, I'm for it.
Yeah,
I'm a go getter. I'm the kind. I will find something else better. I will figure it out. So I'm not. I want to put the greater good ahead of
most
myself.
Good people will, and that'll be a good thing for everybody because those people get out in the public sector and do some cool stuff.
Right. But you said, Iraq War, you're against that, which,
so the Iraq War and all that shit,
mass destruction,
and all of that stuff. So I couldn't vote for just a Republican. So I voted for Obama, and then when Trump went against Hillary, I did not vote in that election at all because because I hated Trump, I hated Hillary.
Right.
Like I could not justifiably cast my vote for either person.
Right. Okay. So I want to hear what.
But then when Trump ran against Biden, I voted for Trump.
Okay.
100%.
Did you? So you had less.
Well, it was just seeing how everything was playing out. I mean, it was pretty easy choice for me.
But you had to, obviously, like you said, you hated Trump in the start. I mean, whatever it was.
So and I still don't like him. I still don't like Trump.
Right. Well, I don't know him personally.
I'm still not a Trump fan. I don't like anyone who's cocky and who's self-aggrandizing. I don't like anybody that's like that. But for the first time in my adult life, I'm hopeful about what this new regime's going to bring.
I'm the same as you in the I don't like cocky, shitty, like people that would consider like Trump. I don't, as a person or as like hanging out with him, I probably would. I mean, me and him hang up, and I introduce a friend that's maybe he doesn't, and then he might treat him shitty because of how they whatever. I'm not for it. But now the reason I like him and so forth is I think he can actually produce. I don't care. I don't care if you did this with you cheated on your wife. You did this. But I don't. I
don't think it's so much that he can produce, because I don't think he can. I don't think he thinks that deep about things. I think he's just a disruptor, and I think
I think he needs disruption needs to happen. In the government,
which I think I'm a disruptor.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
And I think that what is needed right now is a disruptor. And I tell you what, man, I had RFK Jr. ran.
Oh yeah,
he would have got my vote.
Yeah, he's a good one for sure.
He would have got my vote.
Yeah,
but he didn't, and he joined Trump. And I really like JD Vance a lot.
Right. Okay. I didn't even know who he was until this.
I love his story, what he came from. I love what he's overcome.
I still got to see that movie. I haven't watched that.
Oh, I haven't watched it either. I really like Tulsi Gabbard a lot. I really like Elon. Obviously, I love Elon.
Yeah, good guy. At least from what I see. But yeah, Vivek. Vivek was one of the things he said. If he got in, he was going to fire 50% of the federal government. I work for the federal government. Still for him, because I see what's going on.
No, I'm super stoked, man. I'm glad that he's going off the rails when it comes to these picks. I did not like the Matt Gaetz pick. I think Matt Gaetz is I think he's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
He does kind of have a little a vibe like that. I think. I mean, when he's talking to the people, like our opposing people that are on C-SPAN and stuff that's going on, that these people are, he really can push it into.
He can, but I think that's the problem, though. I think the reason I like Elon, I think the reason I like RFK Jr., I think the reason I like JD Vance, I think the reason I like Tulsi Gabbard is because they're all people that are willing to work across the aisle to get things done.
Okay,
I think Matt Gaetz falls under the same classification as AOC or Pelosi, or on our side,
like it's my way or the highway.
Kind of thing, where it's like, and all you're trying to do is like own the libs or own the Republic. You know what I mean? Right. It's like a prime example of that is Marcos Luttrell. Yeah. He got elected into Congress. And we met him a couple times or whatever.
Yeah, good guy. I mean, from what
but he was at this was 6 months ago, 8 months ago, maybe a year ago. I can't remember. They were sitting outside Congress or some whatever, and everybody was leaving. And they said, we just voted on the EV car thing that passed by whatever Democrats 100%. But I want y'all to look out. None of these Democrats are driving electrical cars. Okay. Why I agree with him and what he's saying. That's the kind of shit we got to stop. That kind of shit right there is what we've got to stop. Because that is not helping fucking anyone.
Pointing out that they weren't.
Yeah, it just doesn't help anybody. It's basically saying, look at them. They're the fucking bad people. Whatever. But man, let me tell you something. Those people care about this country just as much people as you do. They just have a different way of showing it. They have different experiences. And that's the part that agitates the fuck out of me about politics. How can a white country boy who grew up in the fucking country at a certain set of values, how can I judge somebody who grew up in the fucking inner city who has a completely different set of circumstances than I do?
Well, I don't think you can judge them, but I think you can have a intellectual stance. I mean, like if you go to like transgender,
but that's different than owning them.
Sure, no, for sure. But like, what if like, I agree in the sense of like that stigma that way. But at some point, at what point is it going from owning to like putting them in their place to like educating them? Or like the transgender thing. Like
if it's an education thing, I'm down.
If someone wants to go and dress up like whatever and go do whatever, that's America. You could Marilyn Manson got tits and everything. Like you could do that. Some people thought it's cool, some people didn't. But when it gets to like, children and 100%. Stuff like that, it's like we've gotten to a point that like it's not saying just own they don't drive, but it's like the harm that can happen from that, and it's such a
But most of the Democrats don't really believe that shit.
I think majority of people don't believe it.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, majority of people have power, but my tattoo artist, her apprentice, and so I don't want them. Well, they're not going to see this anyway. But either way, still, they're younger people and they're good people. Like I trust her with putting permanent things in my body, and I love her. They're good people, but I think they're very, very, very confused and not on their own. It wasn't like they just woke up one day and like, I'm going to do this. It's from Hollywood, from news, from politics.
But if we would all just calm down and lower the rhetoric, you wouldn't drive people to those extremes. That's my point.
I agree, but
so it's like the thing is, whenever if you're a fucking Republican and you're out there and you're going, look at all these Democrats, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Okay, to us who are more conservative, we're like, fuck yeah, fuck those people, right? But the problem is, what you're doing is you're acting like such a fucking child.
Yeah, you're
validating the other side's opinion of you.
Right. I don't consider myself as a Republican. I
don't either.
I just consider myself as a conservative.
Same here.
But
you get what I'm saying? So this constant, like with Matt Gaetz, this constant like owning the other side and like doing all the shit that they do. It's like, what you're doing is you're driving a nail even further between everybody.
I don't know if I kind of feel, and it's unfortunate that I feel like we're like beyond, like we're kind of past, like what is this, of no return kind of thing in some senses. And I mean, I know we're not. I know there's still hope and everything, but at what point do you have to fight? That's one of the problems I've had with the Republican Party is that the Liberal Party, the Democrats, they'll do anything when it comes to take, but a lot of the Republicans, they'll feel like, oh yeah, we're going to be the moral high ground. We're going to play this, whatever it is. When sometimes you have to play dirty, does not to say do something wrong, but sometimes you have to put a person in their place in some sense. I understand where you're coming from totally, but at some point, like I said, like if you're going to a sports game, you have a son, right, or a daughter, so you go there and then. That's a different situation if you had a female coming into but if you got a female lacrosse thing and then the male comes in there, none of these parents are speaking up. How do you at some point? I mean, you don't have to be rude or whatever, but at some point you have to like say, hey, this is wrong, and you're going to hurt somebody by allowing this, and you're stripping girls' scholarships.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Like, at what point are we're gonna keep allowing these things to keep going?
To me, the society has to figure that out, not the government.
No,
and that's my point. The government needs to stay the fuck out of it.
Right.
Like, stay the fuck out of it. What y'all need to be doing, you need to be making my streets safer. You need to be making our schools safer. Yes. You need to be making our cities cleaner. Like, that's what y'all need to be working on. You don't need to be telling anybody anything, who can get married, who can't get married, who can have a baby, who can't have a baby. Y'all need to stay the fuck out of that shit. Right. What y'all need to worry about is all the other stuff. If y'all would do the other stuff well, us society could figure out the rest of the shit.
Right.
But right now, the society is behind the 8 ball so much because of all the fucking money we give to this over-bloated, over-bullshit fucking government that we have. We don't even have enough fucking, like, the general person in this country doesn't have the means to do anything, to change anything, or to affect anything.
Right. Because
we give all of our fucking money to the government or to businesses that are monopolies. Mm-hmm. Visa, MasterCard,
Ticketmaster.
Apple, Ticketmaster, AT&T, Verizon. Like, go down the fucking list of these companies that have, like, they're charging an exorbitant amount of fucking money for something that should be something we have.
Right. Yeah, it's you know what I mean? You've
pretty much made it impossible to have a landline in this country. You have to have a fucking cell phone. So if you have to have a cell phone, it's something that we all have to have. The price should not be $300 a fucking month or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But what the government has done, we've put in all the power into the governments and all the power in these corporations, and all of us individual fucking everyday people that are fucking making the world go around, we're powerless. So what I need you to do as an elected official is to shut the fuck up and just do your job.
Preach.
That's what you need to do. Yeah. Shut the fuck up, do your job. If you do those two fucking things, the rest will work out. Yeah. Same thing with cops. Shut the fuck up, do your job. Your job is not to lecture me. Your job is not to fucking correct me. Your job is to fucking enforce the law. That's your job. That is your only job. Your job is to enforce the law. So you pull me over, you give me my ticket. If I'm doing something I need to go to jail for, you take me to jail. But don't fucking lecture me. Don't come to me with a fucking attitude. Don't talk to me like I'm less than you. You work for me, motherfucker.
Right.
Same thing with everybody else.
Like I said, I've had more worse experience with police officers than good, but I still, respect them. But
Me too.
I got a funny short story. So, when I was, I don't think I was 16 or 17, I was in Washington State because I went to school, outside Seattle in Renton, and I was on my way to go to Hemp Fest, which I went to every year. It's the biggest reggae marijuana festival in Seattle, and it was before it was legal. It was medical or whatever it was, but it was, it was illegal. There's cops everywhere, and everybody just open, blowing down. It was just whatever it was. But anyways, I'm driving back home, and it was my third time ever getting a ticket, third time getting pulled over, and all those first three times getting pulled over was in the same cop. So I get pulled, and I'm driving. My first car was a Mercedes. I had a little SLK, my dad gave me, which thank very much for him. So obviously he had it out for me. He didn't, he didn't like me. So by the time that I was getting pulled over, there was 8 cop cars there. And in Washington State at that time, you had to sign the ticket. If you didn't sign the ticket, you're going to get arrested. So, and then he told me, so he gave me a ticket for speeding, like 10 over, something like that. And then and he said, I didn't have my insurance at that time. And he said, I just couldn't find it, right? And he said, well, I'm going to go back to my patrol car, and whenever you find it, put it out the window, And so I did. I found it, and I put it out the window. He comes back with a $1,200 ticket. It said the amount on there and everything. And I was looking, I started signing it, and then I noticed that the dollar amount, and I saw the no insurance. So I stopped signing. I was like, hey, I showed you my insurance, whatever. And he was like, oh, well, I'll write a note on the back. And I was like, you're not going to write me a new ticket? I mean, and he was like, you need to sign the ticket or you're going to be arrested. I was like, and I just asked him another question. I was like, I just don't understand. Like, you can't write I don't want to sign something with, I just showed you my insurance.
True, right?
You just told me to do this. And he said, step out of the vehicle. They put me in handcuffs, put me back in the cop car. They start combing my whole car. They come back with those little like cologne tester little vial. I mean, the smallest vial, and it had like little flakes of green stuff. Like they're like, oh, we're gonna go test this for THC and blah blah blah. Well, my mom happened to be driving by right when that happened. She recognized the car. She's seen all the cop cars. She flipped the bitch. Comes up there and she just starts reaming into the cop and all this stuff. They end up, like, what do you have him here on for? What? He's being arrested for not signing the ticket. He signed it. You don't know I didn't finish my signature, but I signed my first name on there. So and so the cop was like, all right, whatever, he let me out, whatever it is, goes back, and he says, all right, well, and he probably knew where I was, I guess, because I probably had a weed shirt on and whatever else, but he probably knew where I was heading, because everybody in all of that whole Puget Sound area, if Hemp Fest, it's like the biggest thing. Everybody's going to Hemp Fest. And he said that, oh yeah, you can go back, we're letting you go, here's your ticket, but when you're under house arrest this evening, you can't leave your mom's house. If I see you driving out, I'm arresting you. I'm thinking like, okay, you can't do that. And I was 16, so I was like, all right, whatever. I'm unhandcuffed. I'm out of the cop car. Okay, I'm free. I'm good to go. I go back to my mom's house, and my mom's Army, against weed and everything at that time. Now she understands how things are and all that different outlook. But she felt remorse enough for me. She felt bad that I couldn't go and, that I didn't do anything wrong and that I was going to go see my buddies and all that stuff. My mom drove me to downtown Seattle to Hemp Fest. We walked around. I mean, she can't stand the smell of weed, but we're out there walking, listening to music, all this stuff. And then she's like, all right, I met up some friends. And then she left and I hooked up with my buddies and it was all good. Nothing ever happened. But the fact that the cops thought he could like put me on house arrest, like that I couldn't, like, you can't do that. You're not a judge. Like, you're not. It was just a complete abuse of power.
Yeah, it's all fear. It's all fear
based. And so I had to deal with that my whole like adolescence, and that might gave like my mom a very much of a tainted view of police officers, which was rightfully so.
Well, I think the normal person that has an encounter with a police officer is not going to be good, because it's either you're getting pulled over for speeding, you're getting pulled over doing something you shouldn't be doing.
No matter what.
You're doing something like. Unless you get to the point like me, like I have so many interactions with cops now because of who I am that are at festivals and that sort of stuff. So,
right.
I always go up and shake their hands and I always talk to them, or even me now, whenever I'm out, like if I'm getting gas or something, there's a cop getting gas, I always walk over there and shake their hand. Or if I'm in the store, I always shake their hand, or I'll buy, if they're getting a soda or something, I'll buy it for them, or whatever the case may be. So I have a lot of really, really good encounters with cops, but I've had some bad ones too. And that's the problem is when you're having a bad day and they're fucking having a bad day, and you both take it out on each other.
Right.
That's when it gets shitty. And you also got to realize that these people have to deal with total fucking morons that are saying things like, well, I'm traveling, not driving.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Sovereign citizens or something.
Yeah, get the fuck out of there. Like, and you can make this very easily. You can make this. When I was a kid, I remember this. If you were over the age of 18, you had to have an ID on you. No matter what. Didn't matter what you were doing. So, like, if a cop come up and asked you for ID, you had to give them an ID.
Just walking?
Didn't matter what it was. Didn't matter what it was. Didn't matter what she was doing. And I think that's okay. Like, I'm not one of these guys that are like, you're stepping on my freedoms. It's like, if a cop comes up to me and says, hey, could you have an ID on you? I'm automatically just going to give him the ID. Right. Like, there's not even going to be, unless I just robbed a house or something, right, which I'm not going to do. I'm just going to give it. I'm going to just give it to him. Like, here you go. Here's my ID. It doesn't matter what I'm doing because I know there's no way I'm going to win this situation right here.
Yeah, I feel like that's like that gives them that ability to have the abuse, like they're like it's like we have to carry our papers.
It does, but it's like, and we should. I think if you're over the age of 18, you should have to identify yourself. That's what I think. I really do think that maybe even 16, you should have to identify yourself. That's what I just think that if authority figure wants to figure out why you're doing something, now if they abuse that power. If they abuse that power from that point, that's a whole different story.
Which is too easy to be done. I mean, it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens all the time. But I think that this whole automatically being, I'm not doing this because you got a fucking attitude or because you think that, I don't know.
Usually you have to, commit a. I mean,
I get that.
Or it has to be reasonable.
I get that, but like, a buddy of mine, he was a cop forever, and then he became a TABC agent, and now I don't know what he's doing, but he said, I can literally follow anyone, doesn't matter who it is. I can follow anyone for 5 minutes and find a reason to pull them over. Anyone. Because there's so many laws on the books. So what I'm basically saying is if a cop is asking you for something, he can find a reason to fucking get you.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
so to me, the best case scenario is to just say, here's my fucking ID. Here you go. Here's my ID. And go from there. Now, if he abuses power past that point, like what he did with you with the check and all that shit, if he does that bullshit, fuck you, and you fight that shit in court and you win it. Right. Right? Right. But I think that, I don't know. I just think having an ID should not be a big deal. I think you should be able to identify yourself.
I could see your view on it. And I think especially when you like speak into like illegal immigrants and stuff like that, because like my wife's here on a student visa. She's almost been deported twice because of the laws and so forth for their school. She has a certain amount of time to get back enrolled, or she has to leave the country in 30 days or something. But there'll be a lot of, so I agree with it in the sense if you're here and you're here illegally, I mean, you should have an identification is going to show that you are here, that you just, you made the right way to come here, because a lot of people that came here the right way, and it took a long. I mean, the government's messed up in the sense of how long it takes for them to get citizenship and everything. And
if you're driving a car, I don't give a fuck why you get pulled over. Yeah. If you're driving a car, you have to have a driver's license.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. I mean, that's.
But I also think if you're just walking around not doing shit, you should.
I'm big. Like I said, I'm a supporter of police officers and so forth. But I even think people. I haven't lived a life as a black man or that. But I know that it exists. I know it happens. That there is cops that they see a black guy walking in a neighborhood at night. He's got a hoodie on, and and something happened more recently down the road, whatever 100%. It is. And but that guy could just be jogging. He could be out there doing whatever it is, and then to go up on that person and say, hey, I want to see your ID and so forth. I mean, I see your side of it. It's just like if you're a good citizen and so forth, you can produce. If you didn't do anything, then just here you go. But there's power there with the cops, and it allows them to go into, and by allowing them to go there and ID them opens up the door to everything else. Now I see where you live. Now I see.
Yeah, but how are you going to get out of that? Like, that's what I say. I approach everything from a realistic point of view. If a cop comes up to you and says he wants your ID, okay. Right. As soon as you get nasty with him, you're going to fucking jail. Doesn't matter. Right. You're not going to beat the ride. You're going to fucking jail. You might beat the rap, but you're not going to beat the ride.
Right.
So to me, it just makes way more sense just to be completely and totally fucking subservient to the motherfuckers until they let you go. And if you feel like they did anything wrong to you, then you fight them in the court of law.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
because if not, the other alternative is you're going to end up dead or you're going to in jail. Like, nothing good ever happens from fighting with somebody about something. Nothing ever good. Like you're not going to win. You're never going to win that argument, no matter what. And as soon as he calls the supervisor's going to come out there and fucking have his side automatically. It's the same thing with anybody who's in any kind of authority figure. It's always the same shit. It's the same thing with the fucking umps at my kids' baseball games. Right. You fucking bitch at one of them and then they go get their supervisor and they kick you out of the sport no matter what that person did. You know, it's stupid. But to me, everything should be about de-escalation. And it's on all of us to de-escalate. And when a cop comes up to you and you automatically pop a fucking attitude with him, you're not doing your job as an American citizen and de-escalating things either.
Right.
So it needs to be a joint venture between both people to de-escalate the position, like, as much as you can, to where we can all have like a, because what I've realized is as soon as you hand that cop a fucking, you're just automatically, no matter what, here you go, they're a lot better to fucking deal with. Yeah. 9 times out of 10.
Sure. Yeah. If you give them any pushback, I mean,
as soon as you fucking give pushback, something bad's gonna happen. Period. End of sentence. You can't get out of it. So it's your choice. Are they in the wrong? Yes, they are in the wrong. Are you in the right? Yes, you're in the right. But how much is that right or wrong worth to you?
Right.
And to me, it's not worth taking any more of my time than I need to take. So that's why what I do, as soon as I get pulled over, I automatically have my license and my insurance right out the fuck. I have one hand on the steering wheel, one hand out the window like this, holding them.
Right.
That way they come straight up to. I don't even ask why I got pulled over. I don't ask anything. Here you go, because I want to get that thing over with as fast and as clean as possible.
I mean, me now, definitely, I do the same thing now. I mean, when I was younger, I had that biggest disdain for cops, and I was totally like what you're saying. I was against. If it's my rights, I'm gonna, go that route. But now, I mean, I say trick, but like when I give them my license, I give them my insurance as well, but I also give them my PIV card, which is my government ID. It shows right there, federal, whatever it is, and I just always times I get they can see that, so I guess I can kind of like sympathize with people that are, if you're in an area that there could be racist cops or they've dealt with a lot of of that. Sometimes, I mean, like I've only experienced racism towards me like once or twice, and it's actually probably happened more than that, more recent, but in workplace and everything else. But I've had I got pulled over in a res in a government vehicle, and I wasn't doing anything wrong. I mean, I was going like 3 over or something like that, but they pulled me over and was just dogged me.
Oh yeah, I've had that too.
Because I'm a white guy on the res, And, that didn't feel good at all. Like, it was like, I'm not doing anything. I did everything. I gave them all my stuff. I'm like, hey, I was very nice still. But I mean, all the gestures and good things, it was just still, so I could see, I guess, if I was a black male, driving around and I got getting pulled over for just because I'm a black male, I could sympathize with that, and I mean,
me too.
And it's unfortunate if you do everything that you're saying and you're giving all this stuff, then there's still, and I agree. You're saying, fight it in court. I mean, wait. That is the smartest thing to do. You're not. There,
but there's also good cops that have to deal with fucking assholes being assholing just because they're cops.
Absolutely. I would never be. I went to school for criminal justice and everything. I wanted to be a cop for the longest time. But would I go do that now? Hell no.
No.
Hell no. That's not an easy job at all. Whatsoever. You pull somebody over, like you said, handcuff. She gets run over. Like just over this. That's
unarmed guy, and then that's that. Then I get into the problems with when you don't have to be armed to be dangerous,
right?
And that's another thing. Like it's like we got to get away from this whole saying, well, they were unarmed. Well, just because they're unarmed does not mean shit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's when I was a correction officer, none of them have weapons, But if they have the ability to get control of you, if they can get behind you and put you in a chokehold, they can kill you.
Yeah.
And so you have to treat.
They killed her.
Yeah.
They literally killed her. Like he fucking killed her.
Yeah.
With no gun. And now if she would have shot him in the fucking face like she should have, when they were fighting,
right,
she would probably be the one in trouble because she shot an unarmed man.
Absolutely. That's why. That's another reason why I would never be a cop.
It's lose-lose.
They can't even. You can't do their job.
Lose-lose.
Unfortunately,
Well, hey man, we've been talking for almost.
No shit.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
2 hours and 58 minutes.
Yeah,
that's what my girlfriend's always like. I can't believe you talk that long. I'm like, you don't even know that you're going that long.
Right.
You just start talking. You start yapping, and that's
I
just
thought
how
it was
it
like
is.
an hour and a half, but
Nah, dude.
yeah. Well, what's your what you got on what's your next gigs you got going down?
Man, I don't really have anything big. I'm supposed to do my birthday show in January at Sawyer Park, but I don't even know if I'm gonna do it. Like
That's a good place. I like that spot.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I don't know. I'm right now. I'm half in, half out. I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna try to keep doing this for a living, or if I'm gonna get a job, or if I'm going to keep putting music out, or I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I don't know. I know that what I've been doing for the last 18, 19 years is no longer sustainable. And it's definitely not sustainable after the last 4 or 5 years. And so I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen yet. I know that I'll always write music, and I'll always put it out some way, shape, or form. I just don't know if it's worth going and spending $2,000 to do a full production of a song, or if I should just do an acoustic version and put it out, or
well, as long as you're still doing something, playing some music.
Yeah,
as long as
yeah.
you're still,
I'll always,
because something might come into your head. I mean, I'm gonna put you out there as much of all the people I talk to.
Yeah, I'll always put music out. I'll always write music. I'll always play shows. I just don't know if I'm going to do it at the level I've been doing it for the last almost 2 decades.
Damn. Well, when's your birthday?
January 17th. I'll be 46 years old.
Okay. Yeah, I like to go. I like to go catch a show.
I'm supposed to play Sawyer Park on the 17th, and I'm sure that's what we'll do. I haven't decided yet.
You got any shows that you're going to go see that you want to go see, if anybody in the future?
No, man. I usually don't go see shows unless it's like last minute.
Right.
Just because I don't know what's going to happen, or if I'm on the bill with them. Obviously, I can see a lot of shows that way, a lot of festivals and stuff. A lot of times when I'm out on the road and I'll play like a patio gig and I'll get done at like 9 o'clock, I'll look to see if anybody's playing, and I'll go check them out. But I don't like, and dude, to be honest with you, I don't like big venues.
Yeah. No.
So like, I don't care who the band is. I'm not going to go see anybody at Cynthia Woods. I'm not going to go see anybody at Toyota Center. I'm not going to see anybody.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of them either. Yeah. But
now I did get to see Roger Waters do The Wall.
Oh my God, that's
at Toyota Center, which was pretty fucking
if I could,
rad.
I'd like to go. Yeah, I was looking for next. They just finished up their tour, but David Gilmour is going to still do something next year. And if I could do anything, and I think he might go to the Sphere. I've never been out. I've never even been to Vegas before. But if I want to go to the Sphere, I want to go to Vegas. But if I can go see David Gilmour or Roger Waters, that's
yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know what the plan is, man. I don't know who I'm going to see. Somebody.
Okay.
You know.
Well, if I go somewhere close around here and something smaller.
Yeah, shoot me a text.
Yeah,
I'm always down. But let's get out of here, man.
All right,
it's been a long time. Don't be a butthole.